1440. Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook, as always, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Alberta's only regulated online gambling website where 100% of the revenue stays right here in the province of Alberta at PlayAlberta.ca. Hope you had an excellent long weekend. You enjoyed it. Heck, if you're an Elks fan, big win. Almost 500 passing yards from Bethel Thompson. So that was a pretty good performance. Of course, if you're an Oilers fan, the Oilers and Draisaitl actually agreed to this late last week, but due to the unfortunate tragedy of Johnny Gaudreau and his brother Matthew, they didn't want to announce it on Friday. So they respectively waited until today, which is a classy move. But the Oilers and Draisaitl's we've been mentioning for a long time, and I understand the angst for people. You know what? I would have been floored if this deal didn't get done. What do we say? 13 to 14 mil. Ends up at the high end at $14 million. He's been the second highest scoring player in the league for the last 9 years. He was going to get his money. And if you're the Edmonton Oilers, are you going to let him walk over $500,000? Heck, you're going to let him walk over $1 million. You're not going to. You're just not. So, people will complain about the AAV. It's also a reminder. Dylan Holloway got ripped for, quote, not taking a discount. As Leon Draisaitl said, you got to do what's best for you. Every negotiation. You know what? Some guys want to take a little bit less. They can, right? They're comfortable with it. I get why Adam Henrique does it. Jeff Skinner, he signs a 1-year deal because he thinks if he comes here, A, he can make the playoffs for the first time in his career. And B, he probably can turn this into a bigger contract. So smart move. Dylan Holloway, he never really made any money yet. So I get why, you got an offer sheet. And I don't know if you saw the interview with Andy Strickland that he's like, hey man, you know what? Like we knew the offer sheet was there the whole time. So you're negotiating with Edmonton, but if they don't ever really come close, I get why you end up signing it. It makes perfect sense. It's business. It's not personal. It doesn't mean that he hates Edmonton Oilers fans. It doesn't mean that he hates Edmonton. It's just business. And all of it, what you would do is what's good for you. And what I would do is what I deem right for me. Might not. Some people might take less. Some people might want to max out and make all the money they can because that's what motivates them. There's nothing wrong with that. Everybody's different. And away you go. But Draisaitl, I'm going to say this right now today on September 3rd, because the deal can't be signed until July 1st next year. Now, maybe it will be signed on July 1st. But if it's not July 1st, it's not July 2nd or whatever, Connor McDavid's re-signing in Edmonton. Mark it down. This locks it in. Him and his wife, Lauren, they love it here. All right, Lauren's business does very well in Edmonton. The team's good. He knows, obviously, his former agent is their CEO. You trust him? That's all he's known. He wants to win in Edmonton. And the great thing for Oilers fans is when McDavid signs his extension, it pretty much guarantees that he's going to break at some point Wayne Gretzky's record for most points as a member of the Edmonton Oilers. So those are some things you can mark down that are going to happen. So you can get stressed, or you can focus as much as you would like on all of the things Draisaitl and McDavid do on the ice. Because I know there's lots of people who get a little frustrated and I get it, but it's the old adage. You know what? You're much happier when you worry about the things you can control than the things you can't. So as a fan, it sucks some days. I get it. You're a fan. You want your team to do well, but ultimately, you have no say in it. I have no say. What you do have a say in is enjoying McDavid. He has 2 years remaining on his contract. And then if he signs another 8-year deal, well, you got 10 more years of Connor McDavid. That's how you look at it. Pretty good, Oilers fans. Pretty good. You had Gretzky for a long time, but McDavid starting this season will already be here longer than Wayne Gretzky was, right? Gretzky only played 9 years in Edmonton. Crazy, but short time. But it was a good time. And the Oilers, David Draisaitl, they look to be here for quite some time, which is great news for Oilers fans.
Enjoy your weekend.
And what the future holds for the team. Obviously, when you pay guys a lot of money, you're going to have to make some other astute moves, right? You got to get a few value contracts. You're going to need some young guys coming up. That's just a reality. But the Oilers this season, because you can worry about the cap hit in the future. We don't even know. Like maybe the salary cap goes up $6 million. It went up $4.5 million this year. Maybe it goes up $6 million. I have no idea. Nobody knows how much it's going to go up. Might go up 4, might go up 5. Heck, it might go up 7. Who knows? So this coming season, what you do know is that the orders between Draisaitl and Bouchard and McDavid and Nurse, their contracts come in at 38% of the cap, those 4. Now, obviously, if you want to take out Bouchard because he's only $3.3 million, you could add in Echo, right? Then it comes in a little bit higher, but it's still good. Now, in a few years, we'll see where the cap is at. Obviously, it's going to be high as far as the percentage of your top-end contracts, but lots can change in 2 years. Who knows? Hey, maybe Matt Savoy will be a 60-point player in 2 years. Maybe an 80. I have no idea. Maybe he'll be a 20-point player. I have no idea. I'm not even going to pretend. Now, what I do know is that Connor McDavid will be a 100-point player. And he's healthy in the lineup, just chalk it in for 100 points. Might be 120. Heck, might be 130. Maybe 150. But he'll be a 100-point player. That I can say without a doubt. And we'll hear from Leon Draisaitl today. Also, how about this? I'm pumped for this coming up. One of the funniest men in the world right now, Jim Jeffries, the native of Sydney, Australia. He is going to join us on the show. He's coming to Edmonton this Sunday. How often do you have 2 major stars at a comedy show on the same night? You're going to have Jim Jeffries and Jimmy Carr this Sunday. I know many of you got tickets. Heck, many of you won tickets right here on Sports 1440 for the show coming up on Sunday. I love comedy shows, man. I love Jim Jeffries. He's a funny dude. So we're going to talk some comedy with them, talk a little sports with them, a little Australian rules of Aussie rules football. It's fantastic, man. I love it. So Jim Jeffries is going to kick off the show with us today. We booked this. Hey, you got to book a guest like that in advance. So he is coming in today to open up the show in about 10 minutes time. Also today we are, we'll hear from Leon Draisaitl. If you missed the comments from Leon Draisaitl, he'll be by. We have Spec, of course. We'll hear from Dave McCarthy, go around the NHL. We are now getting closer to PTO season as training camps will get going officially 2 weeks tomorrow. Nuts. I know some teams have the Oilers aren't having a captain skate. In case you're wondering, this year you're not going to have all the players in on the first. You'll kind of filter in when you want. This year they obviously had a super long season. It's the shortest offseason in franchise history. So they will they'll come in. The players are in great shape now. They always have been. So they'll fly in. We'll talk about that. Talk a little CFL. How about a guy who all he does is when you throw him the ball, A, he catches the ball, and B, he makes big plays. Huge plays. 208 yards yesterday. Now it's kind of an odd 208 yards because it was kind of a pickup on a fumble, but it goes down as receiving yards, oddly enough. And it was quite the afternoon, and it's been quite the season for Elks receiver. Well, coming into the year, if you would have talked about, okay, Eugene Lewis, people thought, hey, he'd be important. Curly Gittins Jr., yeah, he'd be good. Dylan Mitchell, sure. Tevin Jones, who? Yeah, Tevin Jones. He's got 20 catches, 549 yards. And he has 20 catches on 22 passes thrown his way. Like, that guy doesn't drop many balls. He gets open, and he catches them. So we'll talk to Tevin Jones. How about the Elks, the opportunity now? Saturday. I'm going to say this right now. I think it's going to be, it's going to be the biggest crowd of the season on Saturday. And that's good. Hey, winning helps. No question. Winning helps. They also brought back return to school tickets that used to have 50 upwards of, I think their record was 62 or 63,000 one Friday night, if I recall, in the early 2000s during the back to school after Labor Day. Well, they got that. Some of your kids, maybe you'll be going. Who knows? Depending on how ticket sales go, it might be opening up the second deck. But either way, this is going to be the biggest crowd of the year. And, Randy Chevry, many other guys, Eddie Steele, have talked about just any athlete will tell you, any fan will tell you, it's more fun when you're at a packed house. Now, if it's a packed house that only fits 6,000 and it's packed, it's awesome. It just is, right? Whatever the size venue, when it's full, look at the Riverhawks. When it's full, awesome. Stinger's full, awesome. Oilers full, awesome. Elks fill up the lower bowl, great. Baby steps. We don't have to talk about the full bowl. Let's just go with the lower bowl to start and kind of see how it goes. So lots of text flying in our eWell inbox, 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440 in our eWell inbox. We'll get to lots of texts coming in on the Draisaitl contract. As no surprise, you're excited, as you should be, Oilers fans. This is a big day. Remember, for some younger fans, maybe you don't remember it. But man, for the longest time, Edmonton would get good players and then they'd leave. Really, for the first however many years of the franchise, it had happened. Gretzky left. Messier left. Curry. Now, Coffey was traded, contract dispute, a little bit different. Doug Waite got priced out of town. Heck, Ryan Smith, contract negotiation. Now, people didn't like it, and I get it. But it never came down to the players not wanting to be here. Came down to money. Now, prior to the salary cap, a lot of it had to do with the fact you just couldn't pay, right? You couldn't compete with the other teams. Now they can, and players are staying. That is a big, I think, positive for Oilers fans, as it should be. You should be proud of your city. Hopefully, anybody who doesn't like Edmonton, surrounding area, beat it. We don't need you here. That's no problem. If you don't like it, just leave. Nothing irks me more than people who reside somewhere and all they do is complain about their, I don't like, well, then leave. If you don't like it, leave. Go try somewhere else. Find out if it's better. Because I can tell you, quality of living in Edmonton, an area, it's pretty damn good. Go live somewhere else and then see. I've never understood it. So, Connor Halley will be live. We got Declan Curry. Deck, before we get to Jim Jeffers, we're going to take a break. But quickly, your takeaway from college football, you get one storyline. What was the biggest one?
Biggest storyline for me was Miami, how impressive they looked against Florida. Florida's not very good, but Cam Ward, incredible quarterback, came over in the transfer portal. Mario Cristobal, his seat is warm. He finally looks like he has things going as the head coach, and the ACC should be theirs for the taking.
Oof. All right. And now the Big 10, should it be the Big 18? Like, we might have changed the name.
Yeah, so the Big 10 should be the Big 18. The
Yes.
Big 12 should be the Big 16. SEC and ACC, they were fortunate, didn't throw any numbers in there. But yeah, it's a joke. Like I said, 16 teams in the Big 12, 18 in the Big 10.
Yeah, and they went 17-1 in the Big 10 this weekend. When we come back, ready for a little laugh, Jim Jeffries will join us on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
What's cracking at Cattail Crossing? Every Friday after 4 p.m., it's 9 and Dine Fridays. Includes golf for two with a power cart at Cattail Crossing and a $50 food voucher at Out of Bounds Restaurant. Only $119.99. Tea times can be booked at cattailcrossing.ca.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Well, get ready for a silly hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at EWEL.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
Teach Calgary their ABCs at the Labor Day rematch. Your Edmonton Elks face the Calgary Stampeders on Saturday, September 7th at 5 p.m. It's Family Day, presented by Save on Foods. Kids get in free with the purchase of an adult ticket, plus an expanded pregame kids zone. Tickets and more at GoElks.com.
The Brick's famous tent sale continues with up to 60% off clearance items in the tent and store and up to $1,600 off exclusive tent sale specials. Plus, find incredible deals in every department, like up to 50% off mattresses, up to 25% off bedroom and dining furniture, and up to 30% off sofas. Come on by while the tents are still up and the prices are down. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
Elevate your home's curb appeal effortlessly with House Numbers Canada, locally owned and operated right here in Edmonton. Their state-of-the-art modern house numbers and address signs are the perfect solution for a quick and stylish upgrade. Multiple size and color options, stock items, custom designs, and the always popular LED illuminated numbers. Quality guaranteed or your money back. So what are you waiting for? Give your home the modern upgrade it deserves. Explore House Numbers Canada's exclusive collection at housenumbers.canada.ca.
Hey, it's Brad McCrory from St. Albert Dodge. It's September, back to school time, and we're making it easier with great deals, like up to 10 grand cash back on selected vehicles, 20% off 2024 Ram 1500s, no payments for 90 days on selected vehicles, and how's this? A brand new Jeep Compass 4x4 for only $37,000. If you're looking for a new vehicle, don't buy until you talk to us. Head up the trail and see how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
All my life I've been searching for something never comes, never leads to nothing.
.217, welcome back. The Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube and Facebook, streaming live at sports1440.ca. All of you also watching on X and Instagram, hello. Got the app wherever you're at. We always appreciate you listening and tuning in. And hey, you'll be happy. We got a big guest today. Our big guest of the day is brought to you by Silent Rides Charter Company, one of Alberta's premier bus charter companies with state-of-the-art motor coaches that will safely take you or your group to your next destination. Book your ride today at silentrides.ca. And man, we have one of the biggest name comedians in the world. He's going to be in our city this Sunday. I'm trying to remember if I can ever recall being in a comedy show where you have this two big names on the same evening. Jimmy Carr and our guest, Jim Jeffries, of course. He was the stand-up comedian of the year at the Just for Laughs Festival in the summer of 2019. Has another Netflix special, not his first, High and Dry, that it's out, and currently hosts his podcast, I Don't Know About That, with Jim Jeffries. Jim, welcome to the show, my man. How you doing?
Very good, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Hey, I appreciate it. I've always liked to ask this. First of all, like Jim and Jimmy, Jeffries and Carr, like this is rare. How'd you guys come up with this idea? Normally, like you don't see two big titans in the industry on the same card.
Well, I saw Jim Gaffigan and Jerry Seinfeld did a tour together, and then Chris Rock and Dave Chappelle did a tour together, and the people I spoke to who have done those tours said they had a blast, right? And then someone said to me, if you ever wanted to pair up with a comedian, who would it be? And right away, I said Jimmy Carr. And it literally just took two texts. I said, do you want to do some shows together? And he said, yeah. And then I looked at where we're sort of at the same level of ticket sales or whatever, where it would make sense. And that was Canada, man. Both of us have toured Canada a lot. The two of us have even procreated with Canadian women. We have half Canadian children. So we thought it's a different woman. And so we thought it was only fitting. And I texted him and I said, are you in? He said he's in, and off we go. We're going to do the shows in the round, which I think maybe suits me a little bit more than Jimmy because I walk around a little bit. But that Jimmy Carr's got a great ass. So I hope you're on the right side of the arena.
So are both of you on stage like separately and then together? How's it going to work?
We're going to be doing about an hour each separately, and then we've got a little thing planned at the end that we'll do together.
Okay, perfect. Now, what is it about Jimmy?
Have you ever been to one of those shows in Amsterdam? It's very similar to that.
Well, all right. Well, geez, I might have to wear a raincoat. We'll see. We'll see.
The first 3 rows will get wet.
Yeah. What is it about Jimmy that you respect so much as a comedian?
Jimmy Carr is one of the all-time greats. I don't know if I've ever seen a comic who's written more jokes, who puts more jokes in. Like you'll watch my performance in Edmonton, and I'll probably talk about 4 or 5 different subjects, and I have these big, long-winded stories where he's going to bash out about 200-300 jokes on you.
Yeah.
He just goes. If you didn't like one joke, another joke's coming along right away. But I've known Jimmy Carr for 20 years, and I've respected him for at least 4. So I'm pretty excited about this tour.
Well, hey, 20% respect. That's pretty high, Jim. That's a good number. Jim Jeffries joined us.
I also think that with this tour, me and Jimmy have very different styles of comedy, but the sentiment is the same.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I wanted to ask you this because it seems at times now, like I let people like, oh, that's offensive to me. And I'm like, well, great. So you're offended. Who cares? But as a comedian, have you found are we coming back to understanding that when you go to a comedy show, you go there and you have to have a sense of humor. You can't be all, well, I don't like that all the time. Like, have you found that you've had to alter that over the years at all?
I tell you what, I have had to alter that over the years somewhat in certain places, but I'm not just saying this to suck up to you, but never in Canada, mate. I've never had to change what I've been doing in Canada. You people have always been on board. And when I say you people, don't get offended.
No, I get why you're... Now, where have you had to change it? I'm curious.
There was time. Look, what are you trying to get me in trouble for?
I'm just curious. I'm just curious.
Yeah, well, what have you done, Jim, that might have you got cancelled that you don't do anymore? I'm pleading the 5th, or I'm going to use the 2nd to make you shut up. I've got something going on.
Okay, well, obviously you didn't get cancelled, Jim, because you're still here, so that's good, right?
Yeah, thank God.
Yeah.
Let's just look the other way.
Yeah. Now, I had some buddies who grew up in Australia. They came here and we worked together for a few years, and they played Aussie rules football, Jim. So
right.
Did you play Aussie rules football growing up?
No, it wasn't very popular sport in Sydney as much as it was in Melbourne and Perth and Adelaide, really into it. So Sydney and Brisbane are more rugby league towns, and I grew up playing rugby, which has its own challenges. Well, the thing with rugby is we get all the brain damage of the NFL, but without the cash.
Well, it's funny because
it's kind of like the Canadian Football League.
Yeah, well, a little bit. Yes, that's true. And it's funny because everybody always says, well, there's no head injuries in rugby because they don't wear helmets. They don't know how to tackle properly. What do you say to that?
Oh, no, there's head injuries, all right. It turns out that any sport, it doesn't matter what it is, if you're running into another person at high speed, you might get a bit of brain damage. You know what I mean? Like everyone's always surprised by. I watched that movie with Will Smith where he was that doctor and he was there going, I'm trying to figure out what happened here to these people's heads. And it's like, well, they've been bashing into each other. I'm not a doctor, but I could have diagnosed pretty quick what happened to Muhammad Ali. It's like these documentaries. Remember that documentary they had about Wayne Gretzky leaving Edmonton for LA and no one could figure it out? His wife was a hot actress. I cracked that code pretty quickly.
Well, Jim, it
Have
sounds...
I just upset everyone from Edmonton?
No. That, you know what? Hey, Jim, guess what? On a day like today, you can't upset them. They just signed... Leon Draisaitl just signed a contract extension. Their second best player behind McDavid, which means McDavid will probably do it next year. So, they do remember the Gretzky leaving years, but the fact that Draisaitl and McDavid are staying, like when you go to
they reckon McDavid's the second greatest player of all time, right? That's what they say, right?
Yeah, well, some are arguing he might be the best when it's all said and done. He's never going to catch Gretzky's records because they're ridiculous. But as far as like skating and stick handling, yeah, like who would be the greatest Australian rugby player of all time? Like, is it obvious to you?
No, but the most dynamic rugby union player that I ever saw was Jonah Lomu for New Zealand. For a brief time in history, he was unstoppable. Was the best I ever seen. But look, I don't know a lot about ice hockey. My best friend's Canadian, so he's taken me to a couple of games. I think it's a very good sport, but it moves a bit too quick for my brain. I can't quite see what's going on, and I don't. You can tell me what icing is 1,000 times. I'll never figure it out. But I do know that we're playing in an ice hockey arena, so I'll get on the Zamboni and drive around the back hallways. I'm not immune to it.
Yeah, well, so now do you own a hockey jersey, Jim?
I'll tell you this. I know more about ice hockey than Jimmy Carr does, and if he comes on your radio station and says different, he's a bloody liar. Okay. I definitely know more about that. Wow. I do. When I was gigging in Calgary, isn't the Flames? They gave me a jersey signed by all the players.
Yeah. Did you wear it?
I have it in my wardrobe. I didn't throw it out.
Oh, okay.
Well, are you offering me an Edmonton one?
No, I'm not offering you one. I'm just saying if you wore the Flames jersey, if we were ranking NHL jerseys, it would not be near the top. Is all I'm saying, right? Like you could probably get a better one.
Right. So you're saying that a jersey called the Oilers or anything that really stuffs up the environment is a good one. You should have the Edmonton wind turbines. That'd be a good team.
Oh, yeah. That would go over very well, Jim. Very well.
The Edmonton solar panels.
See, now we're getting into some Jim Jeffries comedy. I like it. Yours, I have to say, Jim.
Don't be mean. Jim Jeffries comedy is way better than that joke.
Yeah. I'll say this. I love watching comedy shows and like watching the specials, but yours on gun control had to be one of the best I've ever seen. I'm not sucking up and just telling you that honestly. Like I laughed, but the thing I like about good comedians is where there's humor, there's also, a semblance of kind of like some education in there at the same time. Is that fair?
Well, I don't know if I'm educating anyone, but that's very nice of you to say so. But I'm coming around on the guns ever so slightly. I was in Australia the other day, and there was I saw 3 bar fights in a month, and then I was in Britain. I saw a bloke with a big glass slice to his face,
Ouch.
And I thought I never see those things in America. And you know why? Guns. There might be massacres, but that's why those people are so polite. Australians never tell you to have a nice day. We just tell you to F off because we know we're not going to get shot. And the more guns in the state, the politer the people are. You go down to the south and they're like, well, after you, kind sir. No, after you. Then you get to New York or LA and they're all bloody rude as all balls. But here's the anomaly. The anomaly is you, Canada, that have the guns and the politeness. How do you do it? Educate me.
Well, we don't have open guns like the U.S. We, Jim, you would have to write. You'd have to be the Jimmy Carr of writing a dissertation as to why you'd need a gun, right? You might have 4 topics. You need about 250 to get one in Canada. So it's a little bit harder.
Oh, no, I'm not good with paperwork. I just go in there with a gun and rob the place for one.
Jim Jeffries joins us. He and Jimmy Carr this Sunday in Edmonton. There are very limited tickets left if you want to go. Jim, I've always wanted to ask is when... were you a young kid who's like, hey, I want to be a comedian? When did you start thinking that I wanted to be a comedian? And obviously I know, hey, you got to go tell jokes. I get all that. But how do you get better at being a comedian? How did you know you were good?
Well, I look, I don't know when you get good at it as such. It's just through repetition. But I wanted to be a comic from the time I was maybe 14 or something like that.
Okay.
I used to like watching stand-up comedy on TV when it came to Australia. And we only really used to have 5-minute spots here, 5-minute spots there on our late night show. And that would be once a month you'd get to watch a comic. But we did have down at the video store Eddie Murphy's Delirious, and I rented that copy a lot.
Yeah.
So I watched that a lot. So that probably had a lot more to do with it. As for getting good at it, I don't know. I guess it's the same as everything. They always say you got to put 10,000 hours in or something like that. But I've put at least that many hours into sex, and I haven't gotten good at that.
Well, I guess it depends, right? Depends on what your definition of good is.
Yeah. Well, I can finish myself quick. It's the other person.
Hey, well, see, that's what depends. So you're half good, right?
I'm half good. As a solo artist.
Yeah. Jim, I'll ask you this. Has your hand ever complained?
No, but I have got arthritis in that hand. I'm not saying it's connected.
Yes. There's always
it's very hard to detach.
Like any sporting event, Jim, there are risks, right? There are risks long term. I understand that. I do want to go into this one, and maybe you don't want to give away secrets, and I'm not asking for that. But for anybody else, because we've got a lot of people texting, hey, my kid thinks he's funny, but so you started like how did you write a joke? Like, how do you learn how to write jokes? And did you have a mentor or anybody who helped you, learn how to write jokes or
you don't,
augment the stories?
Write them as such.
Okay.
You just say them, you know what I mean? So you think of something funny and a premise or something like that. Then you try it out on a friend and then you see if they find it funny. You're always, the best way to do it is have a few mates that are good soundboard people.
Okay.
Like my wife finds me funny. My wife enjoys watching my stand-up. But if I tell her a joke, if she can't see it on stage, she can't see the joke. For whatever reason. I can't. So I've stopped asking her if she thinks something's funny. But I have a couple of mates that I call up. I do a lot of my writing in the shower. It's when you get peace or doing a poo or something, when you got time to think to yourself and you come up with a different concept. But also, most of it's you see something, you say something funny, someone laughs, you think there's something in that, and then you expand on it. But it's very rare that you sit down and just go, what is funny? It's very rare you do that.
Now, Jim, have you ever... I don't know how it works in Australia, because we've seen some North American comedians end up and they have their own their own TV shows. It's a sitcom. Has Jim Jeffries ever thought about would you do a sitcom in Australia?
Well, I've done a sitcom in America for a couple of seasons that went okay. Would I do one in Australia?
Yeah.
I guess I'd do one in Australia. But the problem with Australia, and you've got, a similar problem in Canada, is there's just not the population to support paying the artists or getting the ad revenue that you need to make a sitcom that can exist sort of purely within the country. So you've got Trailer Park Boys did very well, but it had to really, before those boys got paid, it had to get onto Netflix and then get into America and then get into other countries and get watched, But just doing a sitcom internally in a country of 26 million in Australia is the same as me doing, I've got a sitcom that only exists in Florida.
Okay. No, that's fair. I was always kind of just curious about if it was something that's ever kind of tickled your fancy.
I always what was that other sitcom you had? I like that one. The white trash guys. Starts with L. What was it?
Letterkenny?
Letterkenny. Yeah, Letterkenny's a banger.
Yeah, Letterkenny. Well, now one of our co-hosts, Terry Ryan, they're coming up on season 4 of Shoresy. If you like Letterkenny, same guy, they got Shoresy. So while you're here in Canada, it's only 6-8 episodes a year. You might want to watch Shoresy. It's about a Canadian hockey team. So it's very Canadian.
I'll check out Shoresy now today.
Yeah, you check it out. Well, Jim, you know what? We got tickets, so I can't wait to see you and Jimmy Carr on Sunday. Thanks so much for joining us and continued success, man. You're doing great.
I appreciate it, brother. Thank you for having me on your show.
That is Jim Jeffries. He and Jimmy Carr will be here in Edmonton together this Sunday. The Charm Offensive Tour, right? They're in Edmonton, and you know what? It's gonna be fantastic. It's interesting kind of tour because they tour around lots. I think they're in Ottawa or Toronto the night before, and then they go back away, and then they reconnect again, and they're in Calgary later in October, and they're into Vancouver and Victoria. So it's kind of unique. Edmonton's part of the East Coast tour, where they're in Toronto and Hamilton, although Halifax is there too, and then they come around for kind of a second tour. And then they're back in Calgary. And I want to say Calgary's October 23rd. I'm like 99% sure on that. It's because it's my birthday. That's why I remembered. So there you go. But Jeffries and Carr, they still have a few tickets left. Now, I've watched Jeffries on Netflix. I think he's hilarious. Jimmy Carr, quite fun. But I like what Jim said. They're very different in how they approach comedy, right? Jeffries is more of a storyteller, where Jimmy Carr, he'll tell you stories, but man, he loves just the quick zingers, boom, boom, boom. And if you ever watch him, because there's always someone there, and some people like it, right? You're like, yeah, you know what? I think I'm going to heckle him. We're going to call out the comedian. Now, maybe it's different in a bigger venue, but I don't know if I've ever been in a situation where that ended well for the person who, either they were offended or, they tried to heckle the comedian. Doesn't really go well. No, it'd be like all of a sudden you're in men's league, Connor McDavid comes on the ice and you're going to chirp him. Like you think that, you know what? Hey, buddy, you can't get bound me. Like it's not going to happen. So I love it. I'm very much looking forward to it. We got a lot of text line in 833-401-1440. We're going to talk lots about Draisaitl, what it means. I think really what it should mean. Like, this is a big moment that I think maybe he's getting overlooked, because I see some people, they talk about the sign and they're instantly talking about, well, what if? Don't worry about what if. Worry about the what. And what it means when, one of your franchise cornerstones signs on for another 8 seasons. That has never happened in Edmonton. Ever. Like, no offense to Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, but it's not the same. Right? Nugent-Hopkins, very good player. He's not an elite player. He's not a Hall of Fame player. Leon Draisaitl is a guaranteed market down first ballot Hall of Fame player. He is. And he just signed on an 8-year extension. It's never happened to the Oilers franchise. Oiler fans have always been a little bit, they're going to leave. I hope you're kicking back if you're an Oiler fan and being like, hey, I kind of like this feeling. Draisaitl's here. And I'll tell you, it means McDavid's staying too. And Oiler fans should be celebrating that. We'll talk about that and more when we return on the Jason Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
You wanted local sports on weekends. Saturday mornings at 9, check out the Saturday Sports Setup, where we'll tee up what's happening on the weekend sports scene. Tune in Saturday morning at 9 on Sports 1440.
Booster Juice has a secret. It's a secret menu of secret smoothies you can only see on the Booster Rewards app. Oh, wait. Guess it's not a secret anymore. Visit any Booster Juice and ask for the Ocean's Tide, the Berry Bloom, the Raspberry Rapture, the Strawberry Dip, or the Go Mango. Made with mangoes, pineapple, and yogurt. The secret's out. Tell anyone you want. Find the exclusive secret smoothie menu on the Booster Rewards app and sneak into a Booster Juice near you.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is your supplier of maximum comfort, bringing you the cool AC you need. You just have to
call Legacy. Call Legacy.
For comfort at night when the hot air suffocates you.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
For comfort in your wallet with no payments or interest for 1 year.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
You deserve comfort. Cool off today with AC from Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Rule number 41. Never challenge a goose in the Bow Valley. They run this town and they know it. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules. And if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instants, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days. Because we all know they don't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Ask Albertans where the best beach is, and you'll get all sorts of answers.
Easy. Kinosu rocks. The fine sand feels great.
The warm waters of Sukomi Lake.
Sylvan Lake, man. They made a movie about it. But fortunately, they all agree on the best snack to bring to the beach.
Wilhauk beef jerky.
It's the only thing Albertans can agree on. So pick some up for all your summer adventures.
Wilhauk beef jerky. Because you don't win friends with salad.
In 1973, deep in the basement of an Edmonton family home, an elite team of specialized forces came together to form Action Electrical.
Action Electrical Divisions assembled.
Projects team reporting.
Service team reporting.
Testing team reporting.
Energy team reporting.
Supercharged with skills in their electrical fields and grounded by strong family values. Facing an electrical menace? Call on the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
Imagine hitting 13 out of 14 fairways from the tee. It can happen. It does happen with a driver created for you by Fitted Golf. We are the only company in Edmonton who fits for all 9 features of each golf club. Amateurs learn to play like amateurs from amateurs. Come work with our professional team of scientists, engineers, and club builders and get fitted with the clubs designed for one golfer. You visit fittedgolf.ca today. Fitted Golf, where we continue to prove it's your clubs.
In 100 meters, turn right. Actually, no. Turn left. There's some awesome new breakfast wraps at McDonald's.
Really?
Yeah. There's the sausage, bacon, and egg, a crispy seasoned chicken one. A spicy and egg, worth the detour.
They sound amazing.
Bet they taste amazing, too. Wish I had a mouth. Take your morning into a delicious new direction with McDonald's new breakfast wraps. Add a small premium roast coffee for $1 plus tax. At participating McDonald's restaurants. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
If you can't see clearly driving, it's probably your old worn-out wiper blades. But now you can get new wiper blades free with every oil change at Mr. Lube Plus Tires. No appointment needed. Get your coupon at MrLube.com. Offer ends soon.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is your supplier of maximum comfort, bringing you the cool AC you need. You just have to
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
for comfort at night when the hot air suffocates you.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
For comfort in your wallet with no payments or interest for 1 year.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
You deserve comfort. Cool off today with AC from Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Can you send me the lineup? Welcome back. Tuesday afternoon. Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. Hope you are having an awesome day. Great long weekend, man. Trying to remember the last time we had a Labor Day weekend with that type of weather. Ooh, I was golfing on Sunday, and it was hot. By the way, we golfed the ranch. We had our in our fantasy draft, we always have a golf tournament before, and then we do the draft. And, you know, we kind of have a green jacket now, and everybody plays their handicaps and everything like that. I actually shot the second best round of my life for me, which is an 85. And I put it in the water on 18. Otherwise, I probably would have broke it. What a joke. God, I was annoyed. Played pretty well. I was pretty excited for myself. I'm not a golfer. I've only golfed like 6 times this year. So, yeah, I shot an 85. I was pumping it off the tee. But the ranch was in unreal shape. So if you're looking for some late year golf here in September, you want to check it out. We golfed there on Sunday, and it was immaculate. So them greens may be a little too fast for a schmuck like me, but that's what I'll blame. Not my lack of talent. I'll blame the greens. But no, it was great. And they've done. If you golf there, maybe haven't golfed there in a while. All the changes they've made, especially on the back nine. Whew, it looks good. So check it out at the ranch. Coming up the rest of the show today, Tevin Jones, speaking of a guy who is red hot, Tevin Jones will join us from the Elks. We got Dave McCarthy, Struddy will be by, Speck, and much more. But we got a big focus on Leon Draisaitl. Like, this is a big deal. Like, the fact that Leon Draisaitl, a superstar player, make no mistake, he's a superstar. Like, the only more productive player in the NHL in the last 9 years, his teammate, Connor McDavid. And Draisaitl, come playoff time, that guy produces. All right, look at his numbers. I mean, fantastic when it matters most. And the fact that he committed to the team, to the organization, to the fans, to the city, I think that's a big deal for Edmonton because that didn't happen. It's really never happened. Right, like, look at all of the Hall of Fame players. Now you've got one who has a very good chance, wants to be an Oiler for life. That's what he said. And when you just sign an 8-year extension, it looks and says, hey, it's plausible. It could happen. And maybe even in 10 months from now, Connor McDavid signs his extension because he's got 2 years remaining on his deal. he signs an 8-year extension. That means Connor McDavid, you have 10 more years, Oilers fans, of watching McDavid, maybe more. There is very little chance I see Connor McDavid not signing in Edmonton. Now we'll get to, do we have Leon's comments just about, I think it was Speck who asked him, about the conversations with him and McDavid together about that. So here's Leon Draisaitl. If you missed it, just talking about like how much conversation did him and Connor have, when they're, because everybody knows what the contract situation is, and obviously they're two best friends. How much conversations went on between those two?
Yeah, it's a fine line, and I think that's where negotiations normally probably get to a standstill, right? And it doesn't go any further. But I think both sides, like I said early on, were very respectful and way this was negotiated and the wants and needs for both sides. And continuing to get better and play my best hockey, especially when it matters most.
Now we'll get that was him just talking about the negotiation between him and the Oilers, and everything is respectful as so. But we'll get the clip about him and McDavid. Basically, what he said was, "Hey, I had to do what's best for me, but I'm going to be lying to you if Connor and I haven't talked. And obviously, you know what? I want him to sign here long term. Like, I honestly believe that if Connor McDavid asked for 20 mil, he'd get it. I don't think anyone could complain. How could you complain? No, I shouldn't say that. There's always people who complain. So, of course, somebody would complain. But Connor McDavid, like this negotiation with Draisaitl played out as pretty much what we've talked about for a year. And when I say a year, because that's when we came back on a year ago here on Sports 1440. And, we talked about the Leon Draisaitl contract extension all year. What did we say? 13 to 14 mil. That's what it was going to be. Ended up being 14 mil. And obviously for the Oilers, hey, you get 8 years. Now for Draisaitl, keep in mind, 8 years is good for him too, because no other team could have offered him 8 years unless they acquired him before the trade deadline. It's the only way they could have done it. So you're the Oilers. You get 8, you get 14 mil. Even if someone was going to offer him 15, but they would only do it over 7 years. So he's still in grand amount of money. It would be less on the contract. Right? 15 times 7 is what? 105? Yes, 105. So that was the advantage Edmonton had. Draisaitl, as he said today, you know what? Edmonton's all I know. I don't really picture myself in any other uniform. I think it helps that he plays with one of his best friends. They get along well. Like in Draisaitl's case, there's no player he could play with that's better than McDavid. Now, McDavid, you can have an argument if you think there's one or two guys that might be better than Draisaitl. Okay, sure. But there's no one better than McDavid. So I get why, he would want to be here. And, then you factor in, and I've said, when you have a winning organization, it helps a lot. But, Leon Draisaitl has been back in Edmonton here for a few weeks. And some players, you come in and right the last minute, you leave the minute the season's over. It's not the case with Draisaitl. He's been here a long time. The summers in Edmonton are unbelievable. And the winters really aren't that bad. When you have underground parking at home and then you drive to the rink and you're underground, like honestly, is it really that bad? And you're on the road half the time. Like I've said it for years, winning organizations and a fan base that cares will trump a lot of the other stuff. Because you can get money anywhere if you're an elite player. Leon Draisaitl could have went to New York. He could have went to LA. Could have went to Boston. You name the place. There'd been a lot of suitors. Right? So it doesn't really money at the end of the day. I'm not even sure how much of a factor it is because it's all going to be close. So then you factor in the other elements. And hockey market, a good team, playing with the best player in the world. No one else could offer that. So he took it wisely. And I think it's good for Oilers fans to know that, hey, when your organization's competent, but here's the thing, even when the organization was competent, players didn't stay, different time. Right? They didn't have the money. Now the owner didn't have the money. Daryl Cates, you can not like all the stuff Cates has done. He puts his money where his mouth is. Edmonton is a big market team when it comes to earning money. Now, you pay a lot, don't get me wrong. So, ticket prices in Edmonton are not cheap. But having Draisaitl is a monumental step for the organization to remain relevant and competitive for the next decade. Because he's here, to me, that's just step one in McDavid signing his extension next summer, whenever it is. And honestly, I don't care. It was like I'd said, people kept asking me, I'm like, I wouldn't be too worried about it. I thought he was going to sign at the end of August. It just all the stars were aligned to that happening. And it did. Now McDavid's different. He's Connor McDavid. And as great as Leon Draisaitl is, he's not Connor McDavid. So could I see McDavid signing on July 2nd? Maybe July 1st. Very much so. It could happen. Why not? But either way, this is a big day for Oilers fans. You should be pumped. And here is Leon Draisaitl talking about the conversations between him and 97.
Thought was best for me personally. Do I hope that Connor follows along? I'd be lying that no. But of course I want him to stay on board and I want all our pieces to stay on board. But at the end of the day, I did what's best for me. Obviously, having talked to him, we've had numerous conversations about it. But yeah, obviously I'd be lying if I said I wouldn't want him to stick around for a long time as well.
Oh yeah, how can you not? It's massive, right? It's massive. So I look at what this could mean now. What does it mean for the salary cap down the road? It's a very fair question. But here's two things. A, right now, today, I don't know for sure what the salary cap is going to be. This year, it went up 4.5. So next summer, does it go up 4.5? Okay, then it's up to 92.5. And when Draisaitl's contract kicks in next year, along with McDavid and Nurse, those three are 36 mil. You throw in Bouchard, that would be, now you're up to 46. And so if it's 92.5, they're just under 50%. Right now, the following year when McDavid gets a raise, probably let's what guess, 16 mil? Sure. I'm just throwing out numbers in the ballpark. And maybe the salary cap goes up to another 4.5. Well, now it's up to guess what? 97. Funny enough. And so they would then be at 49.5. So just slightly over, around 51%. So that is a lot for sure. No question. Florida won the cup. Their top four salaries, and I'm saying salaries, not necessarily top four best players, but the top four salaries had them at 44% of their total cap. Right. So Edmonton, when the 26-27 season begins, if, and these are all ifs because we're just projecting, McDavid makes 16 mil and the cap is 97, then they'll be at 51%. So yes, you're going to have some other wiggle room. But here's the difference. So when I put in all the other teams and you say Connor McDavid is one of those four with the high cap, there's just a little bit different value there for him than there is for most of the other teams' highest paid guy because he just does more. And if I was a GM and the owner or a fan, I'll say I'll take my chances by having the best players and figure out the rest of the roster later. That's where I come in. Where do you come in? 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. To me, it's a no-brainer. You get the best players, and then you work your way down. You fill out the roster. Because here's the thing. We've seen it already. Players will now come to Edmonton as veteran players on short-term deals because they know they have a chance to win. In Jeff Skinner's case, it's like it's a chance to win. He's never made the playoffs, but it's also a chance for him to have a great year and then probably cash in next summer. Good for him. I don't have a problem with that. And as an Oilers fan, you shouldn't have a problem either. You're like, hey, $3 million for Jeff Skinner. This guy's a perennial 30-goal scorer. It's an absolute steal. And if it works out for him, great. And it works out for the team, even better. But that's kind of how I see it going moving forward here for the next, and it might be upwards of a decade. As long as, now what the Oilers need to avoid, and it's a long time down the road, is other players now, like Darnell Nurse probably has to be the last contract because he signed beforehand that you overpay for a guy that's going to be real, like at best case scenario for Nurse to give really good value is hard. Is that fair? It's not a knock. It's just fair. Like I've said, at $8 million, whatever. But even at $8 million, it's tough when he's not on the power play. So the rest of their lineup now, like Evan Bouchard, if he gets $10 million, well, Evan Bouchard in his third year in the league scored 82 points. Then he set the NHL record for assists in the playoffs. I'm not saying he's going to do that every year, but Bouchard's been really good the last two playoffs for the Oilers. He's another guy who's been able to elevate his game when it's at a pretty high level, even higher in the playoffs. I get he's not the dominant defensive stalwart. Well, guess what? Neither was Cale Makar. Right, go look at the numbers of Cale Makar in the third and fourth round when Colorado won the Cup. He got outscored 12-6 at 5-on-5, but he produced offense on the power play, produced points. No one complained because they won. Evan Bouchard's a skilled player. You can focus on, okay, he's not great defensively. Fine, but he does a lot of other things. And that's what you have to focus on. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Hey, guys, it's great to be an Oiler fan indeed. One question I have is, what do you think Skinner's next deal looks like? That's up next year, if I'm not mistaken, Suitcase. No, he has 2 years left. So in the summer of 26, Skinner's an RFA. McDavid would technically be a UFA, but he'll sign. Ekholm's deal's done that time. Arvidsson's deal comes up at that time. Evander Kane's deal comes up at that time. Right, so there's lots of guys who have right now 2 years remaining on their deal. Some key guys, McDavid, Skinner, Ekholm, Adam Henrique, Kane, Arvidsson. So, some of those guys, the last three, Kane, Arvidsson, Henrique, due to their age, whatever, maybe surprised they beat her, or they take less. It's fine. Ekholm, he's going to be 36. If he's still playing well, you'll re-sign him. You just won't have to re-sign him at $6 million, right? Now, McDavid's going to get a raise. Skinner's going to get a raise. But I'm not sure any of the other four in 2 years will get a raise. Just based on age and everything else. I'd be a little surprised. So you've got some time. Skinner, it all depends, what happens over the course of the next 2 seasons. If he lights it up and plays great, to me, you never get upset. If you got to give a guy, a significant raise, usually, not always, usually, it means they're playing well. Correct? So that's kind of how it comes. It's a good question on Skinner, but if he continues and has 2 more years like he had last year, then he's probably at least a $6 million goalie. That'd probably be minimum. Way higher. Hey guys, is there any way to get rid of Nurse's contract? I think it's necessary with Bouchard, or has he got full control of buyouts? Well, a buyout doesn't really help you, John. It'd be significant. So here's the thing with Darnell Nurse. So some people don't know. So Darnell Nurse signed an 8-year deal. He has 2 years. He had got 6 years remaining. So in 2 more years in that summer, he would have 4 years left in the summer of 26. He'd have 4 years left in his contract. In the summer of 27, he goes from a full no movement clause down to a 10-team no trade list, which means then there's 21 teams in the league that you could trade him to, because obviously you can't trade him with the Oilers, and then there's the 10 teams you couldn't trade him to. It's pretty significant. Like, it's a no movement clause, but there's a lot of freedom to make the move at that point. And like Darnell Nurse, if he's on his game, is a good player. He might be $1.5 million. Pick your number, whatever. He's not a $5 or $6 million defenseman. That's kind of ridiculous. But anyway, because it was never going to happen at the time. Things change, right? Maybe in 2 years, he's happy. The Oilers are happy. You're happy. Maybe in 2 years, he's not happy. Somebody else isn't. Who knows? But every player, I believe, is tradable, even if they have a no movement clause. We've seen it happen. Guys can get traded. If an organization really doesn't want you anymore, do you really want to be there as a player? You can do it, but can you do it long term? I think it's hard. So if I was the Oilers, I would try to do everything to avoid buyouts, right? The Campbell one, dead cap space, is never good. I get why you do it. But if you can eliminate the error up front on the signing, then that maybe means you don't have the bigger error of the buyout on the back end. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. Coming up, we are going to hear from Tevin Jones. This guy is on fire, Connor Halley. Absolutely on fire. Here's a con man in a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, home with no payments, no interest for 1 year on your AC unit. Stay cool all September at legacyheating.ca.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
The Edmonton Oilers and Leon Draisaitl agreeing to terms on a new contract extension, 8 years with a $14 million AAV. That is the highest in NHL history. 28-year-old center has 347 goals, 503 assists in 719 games since being selected third overall back in 2014. And Bruins captain Brad Marchand told reporters he underwent 3 surgeries this offseason, one on a torn elbow, also to address groin and abdominal injuries. The 36-year-old added he's hoping to be ready for camp later this month for his 16th season from the NFL. Trent Williams' holdout is over. He will be joining the Niners on a new contract and should be ready to go next Monday for the season opener against the New York Jets. Team also placed wide receiver Ricky Purcell on the non-football injury list 2 days after he was shot in the chest during a robbery attempt in San Fran. He'll miss the first 4 games. And Major League Baseball tonight, the Jays taking on the Phillies. That gets going just after 5 o'clock. Coming up in hour 2 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Edmonton Elks receiver Tevin Jones and Dave McCarthy from Sirius XM NHL. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
What does excellence mean to you, and how does it impact your decisions? Friends, it's Carrie Dahl, and I know that at Volvo Cars Edmonton, excellence isn't an option, it's their everything. From customer satisfaction and sales,
presented
service,
by Play
inventory,
Alberta.
and retention.
What's
they
cracking at Cattail
excel
Crossing?
all.
Every Friday.
Congratulations, Volvo Cars Edmonton, Canada's only 12-time Volvo Excellence Award.
Tuesday.
Teach Calgary their ABCs at the Labor Day rematch. Your Edmonton Elks face the Calgary Stampeders on Saturday, September 7th at 5 p.m. It's Family Day, presented by Save On Foods. Kids get in free with the purchase of an adult ticket, plus an expanded pregame kid zone. Tickets and more at goelks.com.
Gather around the radio, kiddies, for the best time of day. It's Oodle Noodle time. Listen in this week as your noodle hero battles the barbarous Bobby Burger. Now sing along. You know the words. Oodle Noodle time. Oodle Noodle time. You know what time it is now. Get up and give me your best Oodle Noodle dance. Your best time of day is Oodle Noodle time.
Rule number 12, not spending the afternoon tubing on the Pembina. Next, you're going to tell us you don't wear flannel. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules. And if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instance, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days, because we all know they won't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need: Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Buddy, you're a boy, make a big noise, playing in the street, gonna be a big man someday. You got mud on your face, you big disgrace, your can all over the place, singing, we will rock you. You're a young man, hot man, shouting in the street. You're gonna take on the world someday. You got blood on your face, a big disgrace, waving your banner all over the place.
Welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. Hope you're having an awesome day. 833-401-1440 is the text line in our inbox. As always, Gregor Show, presented by Alberta.ca. Get in the game. It is Tuesday, and Lotto Max, are you feeling lucky today? Maybe you had a good long weekend, but you're like, you know what? School's back. Got a little extra time. You know what? I could use 60 mil. Well, guess what? Max Mill, $60 million tonight. Get your tickets at playalberta.ca. Now, let's get to the football report. Brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. Home with no payments, no interest for 1 year on your AC unit. Stay cool, baby. It's still hot out. You need it at legacyheating.ca. Our next guest has absolutely burst on the scene this year for the Edmonton Elks. Spent 2 years in Saskatchewan, but has come to Edmonton, and he has found a home. He has caught 20 of the 22 balls thrown his way, has 549 receiving yards. He's averaging 27.5 yards per catch, and already has the most touchdowns in one season he's had in his CFL career, with 4 through 10 games, as Tevin Jones joins us. Tevin, welcome to the show, man. How you doing?
Hey, man, I'm doing all right. I'm glad to be here.
Hey, well, Elks fans are happy you're here, man. Now, you could talk about making a great first impression. You've come in, and it's I don't know if they got a nickname for you, but it might be Big Play Tevin, because, man, every time you get your hands on the ball, you're making something happen.
Yeah, I feel like anytime I get a chance to be on the field is a chance for me to show how great I can be and how great we practice all week.
Some guys, it takes a few years to really understand, the receiver position in the CFL, especially the waggle, if you get to use it every now and then. How much do you think the last 2 years has just helped you in understanding the league and, makes you more of a threat this year?
Honestly, the first 2 years I played the X position, which is basically he's on the ball.
Yeah.
And he's never off the field. He's never waggling or nothing. So honestly, this is my first time waggling. So honestly, I still haven't figured it out. So, but through my teammates and my coaches, I think that we can get that done. And when I do figure it out, I'm going to be even more dangerous, and we're going to be even more better.
So when you say you haven't figured it out yet, what is it? Just the timing factor that you haven't been? Okay, how can I maximize this to my advantage?
Yeah. So, like as of right now, I know I can run a route. I know I can catch the ball, but just running a route plus the waggle, it gives me a better opportunity, like a better release when it comes to my routes. So if I want to take an inside or outside release, the waggle will help me out. Let's just say if I attack the line of scrimmage, it will leave the DB like in a backwards position rather than him being on his toes, and I can easily get a release and I can get open.
Okay, so just some of the small things that that can make you maximize your skill set even more, which is obviously crucial for any receiver. Obviously, you're looking to improve. Now, Devin, you've played a long time. The play yesterday, the results, it's like a fumble recovery, but it's marked as a reception. It was kind of take me through that play and just being alert and being able to get that ball, not only recover it, but then have the wherewithal to turn it upfield and romp all the way for the touchdown. Or sorry, to the 1 yard line.
This is kind of a funny situation because I ran my route and then I seen the ball thrown. Gino caught a beautiful ball and made a great move. And I'm actually running to see if I can work, to see if I can get, like a block or whatever. And as I'm running to him, I see the ball out on the ground. I said, oh. So I run on it. I run, and instead of jumping on it, I grab it, and I take off running. Somebody tries to hit me. I break a tackle and leads me into running for, the whole way, all the way down to the 1 yard line. I'm kind of disappointed that I got tackled, but I'm glad that they didn't have the ball at all. So,
well, it was a weird play, no question. But your offense, almost 500 passing yards, almost 600 yards in total offense. What was it about your offense yesterday you felt that gave you guys such an advantage over that Calgary defense?
I just think that there's no way to stop our offense. Only we can stop our offense. We got players to the boundary that can't be stopped, and when they are stopped, you just come back to the field to the three players that that can't be stopped. Then when we're stopped, you just go right back to the boundary, or give it to all our give it to all our running backs, all three of them. We're just we're dangerous. We're dangerous, especially when we're all gelled together. You can't be stopped.
Tevin Jones joins us. Tevin, back-to-back games. It's a rivalry game. It's going to be the biggest crowd of the season on Saturday in Edmonton. And, you were here. The team starts 0-7. Obviously, it's a pretty brutal start. But it just seems, the momentum's building. The only loss in that time was to Montreal, and you were right in that game. And, they're a very good team. But you guys have played a lot better as of late. And not that you're 0-7, but you probably weren't an 0-7 team. Like, you guys maybe were the best team at finding ways to lose early on in the season. What flipped the switch? Was it just getting one win and suddenly everybody could exhale, or have you noticed some other things that's allowed you guys to win the games that you should win rather than lose the games that you should win?
So I feel like from the very beginning we had everything we needed to win the games. It was just like somehow, some way we will lose. Somehow, some way. So it was just a matter of time, to be honest. But when we started gelling together, when we started just hanging out outside the field, getting to know our teammates better, on and off the field, I think that the want to just came more. And when you win one game, it's contagious. It's contagious. So it's like having your first piece of candy, and it tastes so good, and just you always want that win. Or it's like you've been held under the water for so long, and then you want to fight for that first fresh breath of air, and you finally get it. You never want to go back down under the water, right? So we're sitting here and we're so hungry for that next breath of fresh air, and we can't wait to get to our next win.
Receiver for the Elks, Tevin Jones joins us. Tevin, when the coaching change was made, and obviously one guy doesn't make or break everything, but what's been the biggest difference you've noticed from Jarius Jackson taking over as the interim head coach?
Honestly, there hasn't really been a difference. Like we always seen him as a leader, or whether he was the OC or the head coach. So we just knew that we had to be behind him, and when bad things happen, you can either spread apart and walk away, and things can break up, or you get closer together and you be as one. So we had no choice but to be as one, because bad things somehow always happen to us, and all we have is each other. And so we all stood as one, and stood as a family, got even closer, and started winning.
What's your preparation look like this week when you play the exact same team back to back? A little bit of a short week, although you guys have had two weeks actually shorter than this, so this probably might not even feel like a short week.
Yeah, so as far as preparation, I feel like that this week is even harder than last week, because we just played a physical game, obviously, and they had a bye week, so they had they're a little more or less beat up than we are. But I feel like after you beat the team one time, you should get laxed, right? So we have to focus on us not getting laxed, and us focusing on each play and winning the first day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then when it comes to weekend when we actually play, it should be easy.
Tevin, I know that, offense and defense, good teams, you compete in practice, but obviously you cheer for each other at the same time. Tell me a little bit about, your defense and the amount of interceptions you've seen from that group lately. And as a receiver, what you're seeing from your DBs that's allowed them to be such ball hawks lately.
I love our defense because every day is a battle. We play man every single day. We get out there is basically one-on-ones all the time. It's never in zone. Like you're going to get the best out of them every single day, and I love it. And I feel like it's like you're starting to see it out there on the field as well. And when we need them, they have our back. And when they need us, we try to have their back. So that's the best thing you can ask for.
Well, Tevin, congratulations on an incredible start to your career as a member of the Edmonton Elks. Continued success. Best of luck on Saturday.
All right. Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
It's Tevin Jones, a wide receiver for the Elks. He's caught 20 of the 22 balls thrown his direction, 549 receiving yards on only 20 catches, which is an average of 27.5 yards per catch. So not bad. Not bad at all. And then, you throw in Geno Lewis, big play. They've got obviously the running backs at any point. Any of those three can break away. You got Gittins. Like, the Elks got a lot of weapons. They got a lot of weapons, and they're using them. And give the offensive line credit. We probably haven't talked about that enough, Connor Halley. But the old line of the green and gold has really improved here. You know what? Obviously, other teams are going to get pressure every now and then, but you're not seeing. Now, Bethel Thompson's much more of a pocket passer than Trey Ford is, but Trey Ford doesn't run nearly as much as people think. He's only rushed 11 times in 3 starts. Like, let's be honest here. In 3 starts, 11 carries. That's not a lot of carries. It's not like he's running all over the place all the time, fearing for his life. But I look at the O-line, and they're just, sometimes they do bring in the extra O-lineman. You see that, Cons, but their blocking schemes have really led to their offense being much more dangerous than we've seen lately.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I mean, being able to run the ball, how much does that help them in the play action pass and the throwing the ball? Like, defenses always have to be wary of that run game, but that was a weakness to start the season, and they've really cleaned that up. They found it together, maybe getting that cohesiveness as a 5-man unit, but they're a dangerous team right now, Gregor. There was one play where they had 3 backs in the backfield, and it was Rankin, Leak, and Kevin Brown. It ended up being kind of like play action toss type play. Like, those are the types of things that I think are going to give defensive coordinators nightmares. When you have all those 3 players, you got a couple guys who can really run it right down your throat. And Javon Leak, who's the home run hitter. They didn't break any huge runs. I think 15 yards was the biggest run yesterday. But they established the run game, averaged about 5 yards per carry, and that's going to go a long way. So, yeah, they've got the weapons. We kind of known this all year. Like, they have a lot of really good players. Just got to find a way to win. And now that they have a dangerous team, they're going to have a really interesting run down the final stretch here, because we always say it, maybe the most overused phrase in CFL. The season doesn't get going till after Labor Day, but in the Western Conference, like, it's going to be amazing.
But here's the one thing where the Elks, like, they only have 1 win at home this year.
Yeah.
You got to take care of business on, like, Saturday night for me. If the Elks believe they're a playoff team, that's a must-win game. Because after that, you've got Winnipeg home and away, and the Bombers are playing very well. And they're a good team. Now, Edmonton's playing well too, don't get me wrong. But, realistically, you're probably splitting that, correct? So, you know what? You win this one, then you're 5-8. Then you split. Then you're 6-9. And then you probably got to win out the rest of the way. If we look at it realistically, like, it's going to be a tough path to get to the playoffs. But obviously, Saskatchewan inability to win has definitely opened up the door for them a little bit. And Calgary, by the way, have yet to win on the road. They're 0-5. The Elks only have 1 home win. They got to get a big win on Saturday. Put Calgary to 0-6. And then I say, hey, you know what? Then they got a realistic shot to playoffs. But they got to win on Saturday. To me, I look at it like, you're going to have your biggest crowd of the year. That's winning on TV is nice. The fans, many of you watched it on Monday, you liked it. But it's different when you win at home. And the fans are there. You're more invested. You put your money in. You're at the game. You bought your burger, your hot dog, whatever it is. They got to win on Saturday. When we come back, we'll go around the NHL on the Jason Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Booster Juice has a secret. It's a secret menu of secret smoothies you can only see on the Booster Rewards app. Oh, wait. Guess it's not a secret anymore. Visit any Booster Juice and ask for the Raspberry Rapture, the Strawberry Dip, the Ocean's Tide, the Go Mango, or the Berry Bloom. Made with strawberries, raspberries, passion fruit, guava, and vanilla frozen yogurt. The secret's out. Tell anyone you want. Find the exclusive secret smoothie menu on the Booster Rewards app and sneak into a Booster Juice near you.
So you've decided you want to start hiking. Nobody would say, I'll just wear my kids' flip-flops until I have more experience. The first thing you do is buy the right shoe size and style to fit you. Same with golf. You can't just buy clubs off the rack. They won't be the right size or style for you. Only Fitted Golf works with you to identify your swing style and then matches your clubs exactly to that swing. Check out our Instagram and YouTube channel to see the success others have with clubs fit to their swing. Fitted Golf, where we continue to prove it's your clubs.
Some things just work together. Sticks and pucks, cleats and AstroTurf. Your love for the game and Papa John's passion for better ingredients, better pizza. Nothing pairs with the game like Papa John's. Crafted with signature sauce, toppings, and original fresh dough. They're the champion of pizza. And now you're the champion of winning deals. Just order at papajohns.ca. Use promo code SPORTS20 and score 20% off any regular menu price order. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's. That's SPORTS20.
Sipping gin and juice. You're trying to stay cool. And I'm sweating buckets bigger than a swimming pool. Cruise to Heritage Mall to enjoy some AC. Then my shorty hears the homies from Legacy. I say, listen, yo, where we gonna get the dough to pay Legacy from the radio? He says, Legacy Heating's got a deal that's the bomb with no interest or payments flipping all year long. No money, no problems. That's the life that I choose. Chillaxing with thousands of BTU. Doing whatever the heck that was. That's how you build a legacy. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
And other heroes hiding in plain sight. GS Construction.
But who are these supermen and women in hard hat? They're the ones with the power to offer services such as infrastructure rehabilitation, water and drainage solutions, land development, general contracting, and more. And when they're finished doing what they do best, everything is covered and invisible to everyone's eye. So don't look for them in the sky. They're out on the roads and in your neighborhoods. Find out more at gsconstruction.ca.
For over 65 years, Denham Ford has delivered the customer service and value that keeps Albertans moving. And when it comes to value, nothing beats an employee price. For a limited time, pay what Ford employees paid during the factory-authorized employee pricing event. You'll see real invoice pricing, and you know you'll get the best deal guaranteed. It's Ford employee pricing on for a limited time where cars always cost less. Denham Ford in Wetaskiwin or at denhamford.ca.
Before every big interview, every big presentation, every big moment, I've always looked in the mirror and put on my game face. But lately, my eyes look tired, my brow looks old, and I'm starting to think it's game over.
Stop thinking and start seeing me, Dr. Vance Elliott, for skin refreshing treatments designed to give you a fresh and natural appearance.
He didn't make me look weird. No, he gave me back my game face.
Book your consultation today at drvanceelliott.com.
Now, all sizes of premium roast coffee at McDonald's have a new low price starting at $1 plus tax for a small. It's great if you love great tasting coffee. $1 small premium roast coffee every single day. Must be McCafe. Plus tax at participating restaurants in Canada. Excludes delivery.
Connor Halley with you on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook, is always presented by PlayAlberta.ca. $60 million up for grabs today in Lotto Max. Good luck, boys and girls. Good luck. You deserve it. Be great. Be a lot of fun, wouldn't it? Kick back, relax. Oof. Would be very, very nice. Very nice. Now, let's get to Around the NHL, brought to you by McDonald's. And McDonald's Coronation is welcoming you back for the taste you love with a brand new look. They're freshly renovated to serve you better. Go visit Joe and his team on the corner of 149th Street and 111th Avenue. Try the Big Arch while you're there. You won't regret it. At McDonald's, as we welcome in from the NHL Network. Sorry, from Sirius XM. Network for more on Sirius. Dave McCarthy joins us. Davey, how you doing, man? Long weekend. I forgot where you work for a second. That was cool.
That's okay. No, I'm all good. I pop on NHL Network every now and again. But
There you go.
Yeah,
So
there you go.
multitask.
You're
That's
not
nice.
wrong.
Give me your thoughts on the Leon Draisaitl extension.
Makes sense. Comes in where I'd expect it to be. Did anyone really think it was going to come in under what Austin Matthews was making? Really? Honestly, legitimately? If you did, then I don't know what to tell you, but you weren't thinking clearly. Of course, Leon Draisaitl was going to get more than Austin Matthews. And he's getting $13.25, so he pushes the highest salary up $750,000. And you look at it this way, the way players think about salaries, and look, I thought Jeremy Swayman, what he had to say there last week in that clip was floating around, was really instructive. It's not necessarily so much for yourself, and of course it's for yourself to an extent, but it's the guys coming behind you. And if Draisaitl had taken 12.5, well, guess who he's costing money to then? His good buddy. Connor's probably calling him up and being like, really? Really? Now, the idea is that you don't want to take all of the money, but you also have to incrementally raise the salaries. And you look at how salaries have gone over the 4 major sports in the last 20 years. Now, I know the NHL has a salary cap, and great on the league for being able to have got that and kept that in place, and it has kept salaries down. But you look at what guys are getting paid in baseball then compared to now, and in basketball then compared to now, it's like 4 times more.
Yeah.
So the highest paid players back in the NHL in like 2000, whatever it was, Lindros, Yager, in and around 10, 11 million bucks. We're not much further past that. So the fact that the salary cap is expected to creep up continually over the next number of years, another Canadian TV deal coming down the pipeline, which should infuse another injection of capital into the system. The salary cap should continue to rise. So it's incumbent on the players, for the good of their brethren, to continue to push the salary higher. And I think it was fair. I think Leon deserves to be the highest paid player in the game for a year's time. And then I think Connor McDavid deserves to be the highest paid player in the league following that. So it makes sense. And I think ultimately, at the end of the day, Edmonton fans just should be happy. They've got Draisaitl in the fold now for the next 8 years. And it's incumbent now on Stan Bowman and the rest of the management team to continue to try to figure out how to put a good team around them.
Well, the Oilers are set up for this season. You know what? They're obviously Draisaitl's contract doesn't kick in until next year. Obviously we know they got some holes on the right side of their defense. They'll have to look at fixing those. But I want to ask you, Dave, about the Detroit Red Wings and Mo Seider and Lucas Raymond. And like, what type of numbers do you think? Here we are. It's into September now. Like, these guys are RFAs. Now, they don't, the longer this goes now, I think the RFA kind of loses a little bit of negotiating power because, yeah, I know the team wants them there, obviously, but you're not going to hold out the whole season. That never happens. So, like, where do you think these two come in at?
Well, I would beg to differ on that at this point, Jason. I think Detroit, given where they are in the arc of their team, it's been a long time since they've been near competitive. And they were kind of in the mix for most of last year until the bottom fell out when the games got tough in the last 2 weeks. And part of being a good team is being able to sustain that at the most important time of year, at crunch time, when other teams that are battling with you for a playoff spot find ways to get points. And Detroit couldn't do it. So they bottomed out at the end of the year. Straight facts are the straight facts. They collapsed. They missed playoffs. And it's been a long, long time now since the Red Wings have been competitive. Moritz Seider and Lucas Raymond, the Red Wings need them right now a hell of a lot more than they need the Red Wings at this point. They both had really, really good years. Like Lucas Raymond had over 30 goals. He had 72 points. He had a really good year. He's earned some money. Like, he's earned a long-term deal if he wants, or he's earned a lucrative bridge deal if he wants. You look at Mo Seider. This is a guy that takes on a lot of minutes on the back end, plays in all situations. From an offensive standpoint, he was quite productive. He was only -7 on a team that didn't make the playoffs, which I thought was quite impressive. He's grown quite a bit throughout his career, and he's a guy that they rely on. I don't love the Red Wings back end to begin with Mo Seider involved, let alone without him. To not have Lucas Raymond up front, like he's a top line winger right now in Detroit. And beyond that, I don't really like what the Red Wings have done this summer. I don't think they've improved their team really at all, especially when you consider the steps they have to take to try to get into the playoffs. And that was with Seider and Raymond involved all year long last year. You take them out of the mix, you're taking like a legit top 6, if not top 3 player out of their forward group and their number 1 defenseman. They've got leverage right now. And no, they're probably not going to sit out the entire year. But what if Lucas Raymond, a fellow Swede, pulls the old Willie Nylander routine and makes Steve Yzerman sweat until whatever it is, December the 1st at 5 p.m. Eastern, whatever the deadline is. Not out of the realm of possibility. They've earned money. They really have earned money. They deserve to get paid. And if they're not going to pay them what they feel they're worth, my understanding is that Mo Seider is quite a bit far apart right now compared to where the Red Wings are looking to pay him. Haven't heard specifically on Lucas Raymond, but I haven't heard much. So that would suggest there's a gap there that needs to be bridged. I think they've got leverage, and I think Detroit really needs them because I don't think, even with them back in the fold, I don't know. Are you excited about Detroit this year, Jason? I'm not.
Yeah. I think Detroit's okay, but you're right. Like, Detroit's kind of the same team we thought for 3 years. You know, are they better? Oh, I think maybe they can compete for the playoffs, and then they've never come. I agree. If they don't have Seider and Raymond, in every game that they don't have them, that lowers their chance of making the playoffs by a significant margin. I totally agree on that regard. But, you know, I wonder if the Red Wings are like, man, we'll play hardball. Like, sometimes I don't think it will. Like, you know, Nylander, is he the last guy, I think, who held out that long? Or held out? Held out's the wrong word, because who had a contract negotiation go that long?
Of consequence, yes.
Yeah. Well, anybody else, like, why would you have?
Well, exactly.
Yeah. So Dave McCarthy joined us. Dave, when Seth Jarvis signed it, and trust me, I've been reading up on it a lot. I still don't understand all the ins and outs of the deferred money. I've talked to some agents, and even agents are like, like, you know what? There's, you know, anytime it's deferred, like, hey, something could go wrong. It's not like locked in stone guarantee, right? Like, it extends it, and there's benefits to it for sure. Others tell me, well, hey, if you do right investments, well, then you don't need it anyway. But, you know, I know that contract came out, and everyone's like, oh, other people are going to do it, right? And, you know, Frank, who I worked with, Leon Draisaitl, which makes sense because he was a big name out there, but he didn't. Do you think deferred payments are going to become even like 3% of players?
3%, maybe, but I would consider that
would be 20 players.
Yeah. I mean, you're essentially looking for one guy for 2/3 of the teams. Yeah. Like, I'll put it this way. I talked to an agent this morning and I asked him that very question. What does he think the likelihood is of this becoming more commonplace? And he told me that he's in the business of getting his clients their money now, as opposed to down the road. So to that, I said, well, you know, what if you're a guy, and look, some folks have more of a difficulty when it comes to this than other people, which is to control themselves, if you will, when they find themselves with an infusion of money. No disrespect at all, but there can be parameters put in place to help folks manage their money more effectively. And in this case, you defer money. If you struggle in that regard, what you're ending up with then is essentially a retirement plan post-career, if it's a lucrative amount of money. And I read Frank's piece, and the way he laid it out, that would have been lucrative in Leon Draisaitl's example that he posed. For Seth Jarvis, not really as much. But I said, well, you know, that could help be idiot proof, as I think Frank said, retirement income, which I thought was a really good point. And to that, the agent told me, if you know a guy who struggles with managing his money, give him my number and have him call me, and I will be his agent. Because what we do is we put in place a lifetime of investment for the duration of that contract, the day it is signed, so that guys can only access so much money. Other monies are going into investments and other fiduciary vehicles that generate wealth for them, so that they're never in that position, so that they don't need to rely on deferred money coming in after the life of that contract to help them out. So I think at this point, if you don't have representation that takes care of your contracts for you like that, that's malpractice on the part of the agency that is representing you. So I would, and what the agent essentially told me was he finds it unlikely. He said to me that the owner in Carolina doesn't give a damn what people think of him, and he's willing to go outside the box and try. And if it comes down to the player's willingness, if the player's willing to do it, then by all means, go for it. But I don't know. I don't think that's going to become commonplace. You look at what we saw with Leon Draisaitl. All of this isn't signing bonus money. Essentially, give me my money now. And I would be the same way, because as you say, anything can happen. The owner can go bankrupt, not likely, but heaven forbid. And then you're a creditor at the end of the day. Give me my money now. I think that's how most people are going to work it.
Dave, Oilers right defense or Vancouver goaltending? Which one is the bigger concern for you heading into the start of the season?
Vancouver goaltending. It's not even a debate right now. If you can't get a stop, you don't have a hope. You don't have a hope. I looked at Vancouver's goaltending depth chart when this news came out on Thursday about Demko potentially being unavailable, or likely being unavailable, and Artur Shilov's potentially being unavailable. And I don't know if you watch Family Guy, Jason, but I have this drop on my phone at the ready. Peter Griffin. I don't know who any of those people are. I don't. So they're in deep trouble right now. I think if they have to go any length of time without either Shilovs or Demko available, Edmonton's got a good team. They've got a good team. Do I agree that they require upgrades on the right side of their defense? 100%. And I think they will do so. But I look at it, and I always caution people at this time of the year. The team you have today is not the team that you're going to have on day one after the trade deadline in March or whenever the deadline is. The team you have today needs to get you to the trade deadline in a position where you are able to look at adding and not subtracting. And to that question, the Oilers absolutely have a team good enough to do that. They've got cap space right now. They'll add at the deadline without question, if not in advance of that, a month, 6 weeks before, as we've seen some teams operate in recent years. They get their business done at the end of January, whatever it is. So they'll upgrade. But I'm not concerned that is going to be the Achilles heel that's going to sink the Oilers. I think they've got the bodies to get them through the early stage of the season. Vancouver, if they can't get a stop for, I don't know, have you heard anything definitive on when either Shilovs or Demko can be back? I haven't. If that lasts a month, whatever it might be, there's a number of teams that have made a habit of, by the time the middle of November rolls around in recent years, being donezo because they can't win any games in the first 6 weeks. If that happens to Vancouver, it's a really difficult hole to dig out of. So I have more concerns about Vancouver's net minding without question right now.
That's totally fair, Davey. Well, we are just basically 2 weeks away from training camps opening up. PTO season in the next few weeks. Frank Saravalli reporting that Tyson Barrie is going to Calgary on a PTO, which makes sense.
That does make sense.
I think Justin Schultz is going to go somewhere. I won't be surprised if the Oilers bring in a left shot defenseman. I don't see them. I see a left. We'll see. Maybe a Travis Dermott, maybe a Mark Giordano. We'll see.
Yeah. I haven't heard anything from Gio that he wants to shut it down.
He wants to play. That I know for a fact. So.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, if it's somewhere out in Alberta where he's got some roots, maybe. I mean, I think it's hard at this point in time to move his family. I think he's against that, but I think he would like to play. So that could make sense. That could make sense for sure. I'm not surprised Tyson Barrie didn't come into Edmonton. I didn't see a fit there. He's your power play guy, and Evan Bouchard's a power play guy. So where's the fit?
Yeah, very true. Davey, good stuff, my man. Have yourself a great week. We'll talk to you next Tuesday.
Okay, see you, Jason.
There you go. That's Dave McCarthy from Sirius XM 340. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you. It was a long weekend, but a special edition of the 2-Minute Warning coming up next on The Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
In 100 meters, turn right. Actually, no. Turn left. There's some awesome new breakfast wraps at McDonald's.
Really?
Yeah. There's the sausage, bacon, and egg, a crispy seasoned chicken one. A spicy and egg, worth the detour.
They sound amazing.
Bet they taste amazing, too. Wish I had a mouth. Take your morning into a delicious new direction with McDonald's new breakfast wraps. Add a small premium roast coffee for $1 plus tax at participating McDonald's restaurants. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Ain't it beautiful? The inventory is unprecedented. Volvo Cars Edmonton is proud to boast an amazing selection of in-stock Volvo XC40s, 60s, and 90s. Visit Volvo Cars Edmonton today and experience the exemplary service you've come to expect and the affordable luxury only found with Volvo Cars Edmonton, Canada's only 12-time Volvo Excellence Award winners. Experience the difference.
Volvo of Edmonton.
Hey Leduc, it's me, Grant Fedork from Leading Edge Physiotherapy. What you might not know is that I started practicing physio here in Leduc more than 23 years ago. In those years since, I haven't forgotten the kind and welcoming people that trusted me then. Feels great to be back, but I know we have to live up to our promise, and that's to live up to our name. This means bringing a leading edge focus on our environments, technology, communities, and the people who will care for you, like Graham Raymond and Amanda McIsaac, two locals who want to make a difference in your life. We're now open in Leduc. Learn more about us at leadingedgephysio.com.
Gather around the radio, kiddies, for the best time of day. It's Oodle Noodle time. Listen in this week as your noodle hero battles the barbarous Bobby Burger. Now sing along. You know the words. Oodle Noodle time. Oodle Noodle time. You know what time it is now. Get up and give me your best Oodle Noodle dance. Your best time of day is Oodle Noodle time.
Mr. Rooter goes on a water slide.
Welcome to the Sky Screamer. Please keep your arms crossed over your...
Oh, don't worry about old Mr. Rooter. I'm the last person you have to worry about clogging this pipe.
Actually, it's for your safety.
This plumbing-themed amusement park is amazing. To see the world from inside a giant pipe, it feels like Honey, I Shrunk the Mr. Rooter. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm ready to be flushed.
For a plumbing good time, slide into the DMs of Mr. Rooter.
A premier hockey solution with a clear path for long-term development is proud to be entering its 8th season of independent borderless hockey, featuring provincial and cross-province competition with showcase-style regular season gameplay and a strong commitment to individual skill development. It's an attractive option for those seeking family life balance. The Hockey Super League offers opportunities for both male and female athletes born between 2012 and 2017. Visit hockeysuperleague.com for more information.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
In summer, the prices are even hotter when you drive away in a new Mitsubishi from Cross Mitsubishi.
Home of the largest 2024 Mitsubishi inventory in Western Canada.
All this month, get 0% financing for 60 months on 2024 RVR, Mirage, Eclipse, Cross, and Outlander models.
Plus a no-charge extended warranty valued at $3,740.
Visit Cross Mitsubishi today and drive your ambition.
9605 34th Ave and crossmitsubishi.ca.
It seems the price of everything is redonkulous. So at Wolf GMC Buick, we're trying to make it easy on your wallet. We have a huge selection of GMCs with finance rates starting at 0%. Wait, did I just say 0%? I did. And why am I talking to myself? Oh boy. The prices are fantastic, selection top-notch, and the vehicles? Well, you already know that they're stellar. Get into Wolf GMC Buick now, just off the Anthony Henday. Wolf GMC Buick. we're making it easy.
Well, you can tell everyone I'm a disgrace. Drag my name all over the place. Don't care anymore. You can tell everybody about the state I'm in. You won't catch me crying, 'cause I just can't win. Don't care anymore. Don't care anymore. I don't care what you say. I don't play the same games you play.
Welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Declan Kluger running things on the digital side for those watching on Orders Nation YouTube and Facebook, on X and Instagram. Thank you, as always, for watching the show, listening at sports1440.ca on the app. Man, our numbers just keep growing. It's fantastic. We love it. And, of course, for all of you diehards at Sports 1440. Thank you very much, man. We are entering if you're a sports fan, like, it's hard. Like, obviously, when your team's in the Stanley Cup final, they're going to say, well, June's the best month. Sure. But if you're a sports fan, there is so much going on here coming on the next few months. Of course, the CFL, everybody always says, get past Labor Day now, this stretch drive, great. MLB playoff run is going on. NFL kicks off on Thursday. If you're a college football fan, kicked off this past weekend. Crazy. You throw in the NHL, gets going in 2 weeks. Rookie camps, less than that time. Then you got preseason. You got the NBA. You have F1 getting down the run. And, hey, F1 is getting more competitive all the time. Max, how many points did he lose in the race again on Sunday? What did he finish? 6th? So F1's becoming more exciting if you like that. And because it's not a guarantee on who's going to win like last year. Hey, give them credit. They dominated. But not so much lately. So it's made it fun, entertaining. Who's going to win? So there is just lots and lots going on. It's fantastic. You have WNBA playoffs if that's your thing. So, hey, you also have hockey starting that you get to play and your kids are playing in, university, college, junior football. Man, it is awesome time to be a sports fan. You've really got to work on maximizing your time. Like, how can I fit in all the viewing that I want to do? It's key. Right? This is where you show your spouse that you're a multitasker. That's when you're not good at multitasking. Whoa. Now, maybe I don't like to multitask things that I don't like to do. But you ask me to multitask to ensure that I'm watching all the sports, then you are an elite multitasker, right? So it all depends. I find it's much easier to multitask things when you're very passionate about them. It's just how it goes. Doesn't matter. Anybody can be a good multitasker when it's something you really like. Just how it is. 833-401-1440. You can text us in our email inbox, 833-401-1440. Good afternoon, fellas. Waking up this morning here in the fabulous news of Leon. AAV at 14 made my day. We knew it'd be more than Matthews. Now the chance of Connor signing long-term has increased exponentially from Oil Commander. Well, I'm going to say it's a lock. Okay, Connor McDavid's. And I said it the minute Jeff Jackson took over, I said, Connor McDavid signed an extension here. You think Jeff Jackson was going to take over as presidency of an organization that his client, because not many people in the world would know better how Connor McDavid felt about the team and the organization than his own agent. And now they're still on the same team, just in a little bit different roles. Right? Obviously, when you have the agent-player relationship, it's a little bit different. Jeff Jackson does have to oversee the entire organization. But Connor McDavid's a pretty big piece of that organization. And Leon Draisaitl is a massive piece of that organization. It's a huge day in Edmonton. Like, honestly, I'm trying to think. The Chris Pronger trade was a big day. And now, I know what happened at the end. It didn't end well. But the day he got traded in the summer of 2005 because I remember I was hosting at night. And that deal came down late in the evening. I want to say it came down around 11 o'clock at night. We ended up going on the air till like 3 in the morning. Oiler fans were so excited because it had been such a long time that a superstar was coming to town. It had a lot of superstars, but most of them were leaving town. But Chris Pronger came to town. That was a huge day for Oiler fans. Then you throw in, hey, when they got the first overall pick in 2010, you're pretty happy, right? Taylor Hall was the start of hope. And now Taylor Hall's had a pretty good career. But he's not Connor McDavid, he's not Chris Pronger, but still really good. And of course, many of you probably, if I asked you right now today, where were you when the Oilers won the draft lottery in April of 2015? Most of you probably remember exactly where you were. Even I'm not even a fan, but I remember exactly where I was. I was at the first house my wife and I had together, and it was on the couch. My son was like a year and a half, and I just remember I was watching, and all of a sudden the cue cards came up. I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" And I remember our street, people started honking their horns, and you knew what they were doing. Right, so there's few days like that. Leon Draisaitl signing an 8-year extension. I think it gets downplayed a little bit of how big of a deal this is for the organization, for their fans. I really do, Cons.
Yeah, I mean, there's a generation of people who grew up watching the Oilers, I won't say all the time, but develop stars, great players, and see them walk out the door because they couldn't afford them. I'll tell you, when the Oilers did get that gold card, I was sitting at my house at the time, a couple of buddies in Malmo, on the south side of the city, sort of. And as soon as it happened, we went straight to the kitchen, grabbed a bottle, and did some shots to celebrate because we were so excited. Yeah, I mean, this is massive. And like you said, it leads to everyone saying like this, now McDavid's staying. The people who are saying, oh, McDavid will be gone after his contract, he's heading to Toronto. I don't think so. I think we know what's going to happen here. These two guys are going to be hanging around. And now it's up to Stan Bowman and the rest of this management team to keep the talent around them strong and keep them contending. And I think they've got that set for the next couple of years here. But you got your main pieces locked in, and this is a great day for the city.
Oh, it's huge. Honestly, it is. It's massive. And does it mean they can be competitive long term? Yes, 100%. Does it make it a tad more challenging? Sure. But I'm telling you, every team would say, yeah, we get Draisaitl, McDavid, I'll figure out the rest. Those are two pretty big pieces. And we'll figure out the rest. Right? It's just that easy. So we'll find out. Stan Bowman, this was a challenge. Like if I was Stan Bowman, would I rather have the challenge of trying to build the team without Leon Draisaitl or build the team around him and McDavid? I'm taking the latter all day, every day. It's not even a discussion for me. Not even a discussion. And this to me is the big step. Hey, Gregor, are you worried about cap space? Gord, again, you can't worry about something that you're unsure of exactly what it is. I don't know for certain what the salary cap's. What if the salary cap goes up $7 million next year, not $4.5 million? Well, look at the difference of what that would mean for Draisaitl's percentage of the cap, but also the percentage of the Oilers' top guys under the cap, right? Like, what if it goes up $7 million each of the next 2 years? So now that's all of a sudden, now it's $102 million. And if it's $102 million and McDavid signs for 16, then the Oilers' top 4 guys are still under 50%. And teams have won at 43, 44. Now Edmonton would be a little bit higher, 48. But that's just 4 players, right? So you can kind of cherry pick some numbers. What if the 5th guy is another $8 million player on a team, but your team's the 5th guy, like in Edmonton? After the Oilers' top 4 contracts, the 5th one is going to be probably $3.5 million below from Nurse to Ekholm. And when McDavid's contract kicks in, Ekholm's $6 million deal is over. Now, he might resign, but what would be resigning at? So there's so much that can happen in the next 2 years before the salary cap begins. And it's really 25 months. All right, it's October of 2026. That's when McDavid's contract would officially kick in for the season. So the Oilers, they got a lot of time to figure things out. Is it going to be a little bit Challenging, yes. But Connor McDavid, does anybody think Connor McDavid is going to slow down in the next 5 or 6 years? Anybody? Heck, in the next 8 years. Like, what would make you think he's going to? Look at Sidney Crosby, who's probably he was the McDavid predecessor to being the star player in the league, right? And you could throw in Ovechkin too, but Crosby, if you want to say more. Now, Sidney Crosby, the best year of his career was 120 points. Now, injuries obviously played a factor for him in 11, 12, 13, kind of when he's really getting heated up in his prime. And then he came back and he was still good. Offense was down a little bit across the NHL in 14, 15, and 16. Now offense has come back up, and Crosby's last 2 years, 93 and 94 points. But Connor McDavid's best seasons have always been better than Crosby's offensively in the offensive production. It's not really close if you actually look at it. And now Crosby, the 72 points in 53 games, still wouldn't have been, what would that have been? About 100, probably still a little bit higher than 120, but not a ridiculous amount. So he was never close to the 140 or 150 mark. So what's McDavid going to be? Is he going to be a 110-point player in 6 or 7 years? Still really good. Right? And I say that only. I'm being somewhat facetious. Still ridiculous. So, yeah, Connor McDavid is going to get paid a lot, but he's still going to be highly productive. Highly productive. So you can worry a lot about, well, what about the salary cap? And I guess sure. Or I would say this, what would be more worrisome? McDavid and Draisaitl not being here? Well, now you don't have to worry about half of that because Draisaitl's here. And trust me, Draisaitl signing, it's foreshadowing. McDavid signing here. Every conversation I've had is McDavid signing here. His wife loves it here. Her business does well here. The community's really welcomed her into the community, making a name on her own, which is great. I think that's important. It's healthy in a relationship. Then you throw in the team's competitive. McDavid, his former agents, the CEO, someone he works with, trusts very much. What's not like to like? Playing in a hockey mad market where everybody loves hockey. I don't see any reason why he's leaving. And I think with him, his best friend or one of his best friends sign an extension, it's pretty much a foregone conclusion for me. I honestly, I might announce it today on September 3rd, 2024. That for the next 2 years, because Connor McDavid, he has another 22 months until he can, that's not even true. He has 10 months until he can officially sign an extension, but he has 22 months until his contract expires. I'm just going to say, I'm not going to read any text that suggests, hey, do you think Connor McDavid signs? I'm just going to say that right now because Connor McDavid is signing. I don't know the date of it. It might be July 1st. It might be July 5th. It might be July 25th. It might be August 24th. I don't know the date. But Connor McDavid is signing an extension. I'm just going to go on record right now today, Connor Halley. I think we're going to be on this show. We will be text-free of questions. You can send the question. I love it. I'm not going to read it because I know the answer. And I think you all know the answer too. And that is something that Oiler fans, I can get why you used to be a little twitchy about it, a little nervous. Ooh, geez, contract extension. Oh, no, good. They're going to lose another star player. It's a different time. It's a different era. McDavid will be signed. Let's get to the con man and a sports 1440 update brought to you by Fountain Tire. They're teaming up with Sports Central to collect 1,000 bikes for kids in need every Saturday this month. You can drop off bikes at Sports Central between 20 a.m. and 3 p.m. Go to sportscentral.org, find a location near you.
The Sports 14.
In case you missed it, the Edmonton Oilers have signed star center Leon Draisaitl to an 8-year contract extension with an AAV of $14 million, making him the highest paid player in NHL history. The 28-year-old center has 347 goals for 850 points in 719 regular season games since being drafted third overall back in 2014. From the Boston area, Boston Bruins captain Brad Marchand told reporters today he underwent 3 offseason surgeries, one on an elbow tendon, also groin and abdominal. He is hoping to be ready for camp entering his 16th season in the NHL. And some good news for the Niners as Trent Williams' holdout is over. The star tackle finalizing a new deal with the Niners. He should be good to go on Monday's season opener against the New York Jets. The team also placed wide receiver Ricky Purcell on the non-football injured list 2 days after he was shot in the chest during a robbery attempt in San Fran, looking like he'll miss at least 4 games. Major League Baseball, the Blue Jays are in action once again, hosting the Phillies. That one gets going just after 5 o'clock. You also have the Orioles taking on the White Sox, Nationals in Miami, Rays host the Twins, Rockies up against the Braves, Cubs host the Pirates, Dodgers take on the Angels, and the Athletics hosting the Seattle Mariners. WNBA action tonight. The Sun hosts the Storm. Mystics heading to Arlington to take on the Wings. Aces up against the Sky, and the Dream are in Phoenix. Coming up in hour 3 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by former NHLer Jason Strudwick, and we'll ask 5 questions. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Welcome back.
In 100 meters, turn right.
Just after 4 o'clock on a lovely Tuesday afternoon in Alberta's capital city, in Edmonton. It's the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. If Thanks as always for tuning into the show. We appreciate it. Use the promo code SUMMER. Hey, it's still summertime officially, and the weather's great. You get $5 deposit, get you a $50 free play on casino, and more at Instance as well, live dealer at playalberta.ca. A big day. If you're just joining us, maybe you're coming out of hibernation from the long weekend. Maybe you're just waking up from a super long weekend. Leon Draisaitl. That's the big story in Edmonton. 8-year extension with a $14 million AAV. It's a huge day for Edmonton. It's one that this show anyway, we've expected. We've talked about it for a long time. I always thought it was a no-brainer that Leon Draisaitl would sign here in Edmonton. I think it was a relationship that works well for both sides, which is why I think Connor McDavid will be following suit next summer. Obviously, he'll have a higher cap hit. He deserves it. But either way, this is a massive signing. Now, I know a lot of people are worried. I like this because if you look at players, Leon Draisaitl, his age, like you look at Nikita Kucherov, right? How many points did Nikita Kucherov have last year? Connor Halley, do you remember how many points Nikita Kucherov had last season?
100 and something.
144.
Not bad.
Right? That was a career high at the age of 30. He had 113 before. Like Nathan McKinnon, career high at his age. And he's older than Kucherov. Now, you know what? Obviously, Draisaitl has set the bar a little bit higher because, his well, no, that's not true because Kucherov had 128 points prior to last season, right? So, but he still managed to surpass it. 30 years of age. Nathan McKinnon, is this a guy that, what did he do? What did he have? 140? And I think it's like he had 100 points the last 2 years of his career. He's never had 100 prior to that, right? 29 years of age. So, you're seeing players continue. Look at Panarin's season last year, right? Today's athletes, the great ones, are able to stay greater longer because of the increased education in nutrition, sleep, travel, many other factors. Body, like look at LeBron James. LeBron James spends, now he makes 50 mil, so it's easy to say, but he spends $1 million just on like massage and treatments and different things to maximize his potential for his body. Right? Look at Tom Brady. Look how good he was. Now, different sport, sure, but still great player who extended his career for a long time. So now you factor in Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, both very driven players who are elite already. Why would anybody think they're going to fall off a significant amount when they get into their early, like maybe the last 2 years of the deal, maybe Draisaitl slows down a bit. It's possible, sure. But how much are we talking? Like instead of being a 110-point player, he's a 95-point player? Is that what we're talking? 90-point player? Like, I just don't see the wheels falling off and having Leon Draisaitl driving into the ditch. Like, I just don't see it. And I think at times people don't realize how hard it is to score 100 points consistently, con man. Right? Like, you're a little spoiled maybe. Like, you look at McDavid, it's like, oh, jeez, come on. It's 100 points. Anybody can get 100 points. No, they can't. There's not a lot of guys who get 100 points, right? There was still only 9 players who had 100 points last year. And Draisaitl had, quote, a down year with 106, and he was still 7th in the league. There was only 9 guys who had 100 points. Right? And these guys do it consistently in McDavid and Draisaitl. McDavid had 100 points in a 56-game season. It's nuts. Right? Like, it just, I honestly, because they've been so good, you almost maybe take for granted how hard it is to score 100 points, cons. And that's understandable. I get it. But I'm just saying that people need to kind of remember that, even in the last 5 years, so I'm counting, Draisaitl 4 times he's at 100 points. The late Johnny Gaudreau once. Huberdeau, Kaprizov, Carlson once. Kucherov twice. McKinnon twice. Matthews twice. McDavid 4 times. Miller once, Nugent Hopkins once, Panarin, Pasternak, Peterson, Rantanen, Robertson, Stamkos, and Tkachuk. So in the last 5 years, it's only happened a total of 30 times. Now, one of those years, of course, is a shortened season. And then the second year, there's a few games missed off. And that's the difference, right? Like, look at McDavid. If they play even 3 more games, he gets to 100. But the point is, like, it doesn't happen very often. You don't have many guys getting 100 points year after year after year, like McDavid and Draisaitl. And in this case today, I just want to focus on Draisaitl. You know, McDavid gets a lot of press, as he should. But Leon Draisaitl's a hell of a player. Leon Draisaitl is a first ballot Hall of Famer already. If something unimaginable happened, Leon Draisaitl right now today is a Hall of Fame player. He's got the 3rd best points per game or 4th best in the playoffs. He's won a Hart Trophy. He's won a Ted Lindsay. He's a 3-time 50-goal scorer. 4-time or 5-time? 5-time, I think, 100-point player. Like, what else do you want? Like, he's elite. He's elite. Don't buy in to what the trolls say. And some trolls are reporters, make no mistake. Trolls aren't just limited to anonymous people. There are some reporters who are trolls too at times, who like to suggest, well, Draisaitl is only good because of McDavid. Honestly, did Connor McDavid teach Leon Draisaitl how to one-time the puck from a sharp angle? Did McDavid go in the corner and show? Or did McDavid be like, man, I got to learn how to one-time the puck from Leon Draisaitl? Remember when Draisaitl's got, he's kind of got a muffin. Right? They poke fun at each other. Does it benefit playing for McDavid? 100%. But does McDavid benefit from playing with the best backhand passer in the league? Yes. It's mutual. It benefits both of them. Like McKinnon benefits playing with Rantanen. Rantanen benefits playing with McKinnon. Kucherov benefits playing with Point. Point benefits playing with Kucherov. Like, it's not a shock that a lot of the top-end guys, you get 2 top-end guys together and they produce more. It's just how it is. So I look at Oilers fans and the fact you got Leon Draisaitl for the next 9 seasons, a guy who said he wants to be an Oiler for life. When was the last player who said they're going to be an Oiler for life who had signed an extension? Who's an elite player? Honestly, can you name one? Elite. Not good players, elite players, because they're rare. Right? Cons. Can you think? No, like honestly,
is there one?
Like,
I don't think so.
Right? Like, I don't know. Mark Messier, did he ever say he wanted to be an Oiler for life? I don't know. I wasn't covering the team back then.
Well, yeah, I mean, no one from the dynasty stuck around, right?
Right. And then now, it's 10 years. It's a long time. But, Kevin Lowe stuck around a long time, left, came back. But he wasn't elite. Like, no, he's a Hall of Famer, so he's a pretty good player. He's like not elite. And he was very good. Probably great, but not elite. Like, this is a big day. And I think there's some people that maybe don't grasp how big of a day it is for the team they cheer for. There's not many Leon Draisaitls in the league. And there's definitely no other Connor McDavids. And so you get one of that guy in Leon Draisaitl, second highest scoring player for the last 9 years in the NHL. And I know people, but they haven't won a cup. That can't be the response every time. It's lame. Okay, it's lame. And by the way, winning the cup has nothing to do really with the regular season. Small percentage when it comes to home ice advantage, maybe. But you can't win the cup in the regular season. It's impossible. Now, you can lose it by not getting in the playoffs, but you can't win it. You can be a great regular season team. Doesn't mean you win. So it's 2 different conversations. Not everything can be, but they haven't won the cup. It's such a lame argument. Like, I'm sorry, it is. And when I look at Leon Draisaitl increases your odds of having a chance to win the cup every year. That's what it does. That's what makes the signing so good for Edmonton. All the other stuff. Yeah, sure. There's concerns about everything. Salary cap, injuries, age, sure, but that's going to be for every team regardless. But you can take players and say, I got an elite player, and now I'm probably going to have 2 elite players for the next decade? Oiler fans should be doing cartwheels. Now, the only ones who might not are season ticket holders, because the price keeps going up, and that sucks. You know what? So it's not ideal. When we return, Jason Strudwick will join us. We got 5 questions. We'll get to spec in the 5 o'clock hour. The 2-minute warning, Tate's getting a fine. Sent us the wrong clip, but now it's ready. So I'll come up with the 5 o'clock hour and more on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Teach Calgary their ABCs at the Labor Day rematch. Your Edmonton Elks face the Calgary Stampeders on Saturday, September 7th at 5 p.m. It's Family Day, presented by Save On Foods. Kids get in free with the purchase of an adult ticket, plus an expanded pregame kids zone. Tickets and more at GoElks.com.
Some things just work together. Sticks and pucks, cleats and AstroTurf. Your love for the game and Papa John's passion for better ingredients, better pizza. Nothing pairs with the game like Papa John's. Crafted with signature sauce, toppings, and original fresh dough. They're the champion of pizza. And now you're the champion of winning deals. Just order at papajohns.ca. Use promo code SPORTS20 and score 20% off any regular menu price order. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's. That's SPORTS20.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is your supplier of maximum comfort, bringing you the cool AC you need. You just have to call Legacy. Call Legacy. For comfort at night when the hot air suffocates you. Call Legacy. Call Legacy. For comfort in your wallet with no payments or interest for 1 year. Call Legacy. Call Legacy. You deserve comfort. Cool off today with AC from Legacy Heating and Cooling.
I'm Colin Livingston, president of Cantork. Since 2016, we've been at the forefront of hydraulic torque wrenches in Canada. I'm delighted to share our latest venture, in-house production for quicker turnaround, superior quality, and heightened versatility. Experience excellence at Cantork.com.
The Brick's famous tent sale continues with up to 60% off clearance items in the tent and store and up to $1,600 off exclusive tent sale specials. Plus, find incredible deals in every department, like up to 50% off mattresses, up to 25% off bedroom and dining furniture, and up to 30% off sofas. Come on by while the tents are still up and the prices are down. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
Excavators, loaders, lifts, compaction equipment, and more. Find the XCMG construction equipment you need. Available for rental or sale at Japa Machinery Group. Japa, helping build Alberta from the ground up for 50 years. Visit japamachinery.com.
Imagine hitting 13 out of 14 fairways from the tee. It can happen. It does happen with a driver created for you by Fitted Golf. We are the only company in Edmonton who fits for all 9 features of each golf club. Amateurs learn to play like amateurs from amateurs. Come work with our professional team of scientists, engineers, and club builders and get fitted with the clubs designed for one golfer. You visit fittedgolf.ca today. Fitted Golf, where we continue to prove it's your clubs.
Silent Rides is one of Alberta's premier bus charter companies with state-of-the-art motor coaches. We provide our customers with the safest and most reliable ground transportation. Our seatbelt-equipped buses have become the preferred carrier for many local sports teams, tours, corporate outings, and other various travel across Western Canada. For more information and to request a quote, contact Ted Nakamura at 780-940-0880 or visit silentrides.ca.
Now, all sizes of premium roast coffee at McDonald's have a new low price starting at $1 plus tax for a small. It's great if you love great tasting coffee. $1 small premium roast coffee every single day. Must be McCafe. Plus tax at participating restaurants in Canada. Excludes delivery.
Stingray video channels are now available for free on Pluto TV. Experience Quello concerts, Stingray Classica, Stingray D-Jazz, Stingray Naturescape, and Stingray Sea Music, along with hundreds of other channels. Pluto TV is easy and free and available on all your favorite devices. Pluto TV. Stream now, pay never.
I couldn't ignore it. Everyone kept saying, "You look so tired."
Are you getting enough sleep, dear? Hon, you look like you need some rest.
But I'm not tired. I guess I just look that way.
But you don't have to. I'm Dr. Vance Elliott, and I provide skin refreshing treatments designed to give you a fresh and natural appearance. Don't worry, we won't drastically change how you look, but we will help you look as energetic as you feel. Book your consultation today at drvanselliot.com.
If you change your mind, take a chance on the changing lines. Take a chance, honey, I'm still free. Take a chance on me. If you need me, let me know. Gonna be around. If you got no place to go, when you feel down. If you're all alone, with the pretty words that fall, honey, I'm still free. Take a chance on me. Find a new baby. If you put me to the test, you let me try. Take a chance on me. Take a chance on me. You go dancing, you can go walking. Let's switch together.
For 21. How you doing? Well, if you're an Oiler fan, you should be doing pretty well. Hell, if you're an Elks fan, you're feeling pretty good about your team all of a sudden. Big win. They go into Calgary and spank the Stampeders. Defense, 4 interceptions. Bethel Thompson, 3 touchdowns, 486 passing yards. Devin Jones had 208 receiving yards on 5 catches. Now, one of them's, I know that, to me, that still should be a rushing yard. I don't know. Like, didn't catch the ball. He caught it off the ground. But nonetheless, I'm probably being a stickler. I just found that a little bit of an odd. I know it's on a passing play, and it was a completed pass, but then it's a fumble. To me, that's fumble recovery on a catch, but nonetheless, he's up to 208 yards in that game. So not bad. Not bad at all. Let's get to Struds On, brought to you by Action Electrical. And what's not bad is their advancements in solar. They are, you know what? It's growing. There's lots more interest from people who want to save money and help out a little bit on solar for either your commercial business or your home. Go to actionelectrical.net. They'll help you out.
The Jason Gregor Show presents Struds On.
It's the memories. That's what you remember. Memories.
It's a bouquet of enjoyment coming in my mouth there. But it's like I always say, HK, who cares?
It's time for Struds On.
Struddy, how you doing?
Good, buddy. I don't think I was doing as good as Oilers fans though today. What a treat to wake up to that news.
Oh man, that's what I've been saying all day. Like this is, I think it's almost been like this is a monumental day for an organization. You have one of the greatest players of all time, a sure first ballot Hall of Famer, who has just signed on. It's never happened in Oiler franchise history. Struds, all the other guys left.
Right. That's a good point. I hadn't thought about that, and that's putting it like that. It is pretty big move, and what I think even for more, like I wasn't in the room obviously, but it felt like it sounded like it was a pretty easy negotiation. Yeah. Both sides want to get this done, and you hear about that. Well, both sides want to get done, and then you maybe haggle a little bit about whatever bonuses or the final number, but it wasn't like one person saying X and the other saying X minus 40% here.
Yeah, he's he's committed long term to the organization, and when you look at the great players, Struddy, in sports overall, right, like Leon Draisaitl slowing down. I don't even know what that means in his mid-30s, but it's not what it used to mean. Right? Like Leon Draisaitl, I guess if he's only a 95-point player in year 6, 7, and 8, you kind of live with it. But there were still only 9 guys with 100 points. Like I think because Draisaitl and McDavid do it so often that it kind of gets overlooked at how difficult it actually is.
Okay, so let's just. I was having a conversation with a friend, and he was saying, "Well, what happens when he slows down?" Well, if we can agree that either Leon is around or close to where Sidney Crosby is, as far as his career, like points wise, as far as like being able to work hard and produce and be ready to play, and injury wise, and all those things. And Leon's actually had less injuries than Sid. Can he still be productive at the same age as Sid had? I mean, Sid had a great year last year, just a great year. So I think that if we're looking, 6, 7, 8 years down the road, I think the Oilers and Leon should be comfortable with where his production can be. Still at that point, when you compare him to another, incredibly great player of all time in Sidney Crosby in Pittsburgh.
100%. Yeah. And, and the fact that his running mate and his best buddy is likely going to do the exact, not likely, I'm going to guarantee lock it in now, Struds. He's doing it. McDavid's signing here too. It's a no-brainer to me. Like, Draisaitl said, hey, I did what's best for me. And, we talk, but of course they talk about it like as if they're not going to. Hey, man, like they're not going to talk numbers specifically, or maybe they did, but it's more like, hey, you want to be here? Yeah, I want to be here. You're here. I'm here. Good. They're both here. And then the organization figures out the rest. I'd much rather have the best players and have to figure out how to build around them than have to go try to find a replacement for Draisaitl and McDavid.
Well, you don't find it. You don't find those guys, right? You just don't. And I agree with you. Now, I think that I love the way Leon didn't box Connor to a corner, right? So Connor's going to do what he wants to do.
Yeah.
But I cannot believe the two of them didn't speak about it. I would be blown away because you'd want to know, right? You'd want to know what your buddy's plans are. And quite honestly, your running mate, your hockey running mate, you want to know what he's all about. So I think that we can sit back and think, okay, Connor's going to get done now too. That kind of takes the conversation out of it as far as what the Oilers have to worry about. And now you just said it. You got to figure out how to fill this all around. Now they do have a bit of cap space clearing up with who is it? James Neal coming off, but then obviously Campbell's on there. And then you got to figure out all fixed. But now at least you have a blueprint for your I'm guessing one or two of your best players, and now Evan Bouchard. That's the one that interests me. But we can probably guess what McDavid's going to be, but what is Bouchard going to be? Then you have your big three, and you figure it out from there.
Yeah. Yeah, Bouchard is one, they'll have to figure out what that is. Here's the thing about Evan Bouchard. He's only had 3 full NHL seasons, and his last 2 playoffs, this guy's played really well at the most important time of the year. And, the thing was, it's not just I thought his 5-on-5 play improved a lot last season over the course of the year for him. And Struts, I don't care that Evan Bouchard is never going to be a shutdown defensive defenseman. He doesn't need to be an elite player. Like Cale Makar is an elite shutdown defender. He's just an elite defender.
Yeah, and that's a good point. I think, obviously offensively he's really impressive. But, even, let's say even improves 5% defensively, because he has improved a lot already. But if he just improves 5% and just like the rest of the team's trying to buckle down a bit, that's a pretty big jump to be doing it at where he's at. So I agree with you, but I'm really interested to see what that contract looks like and what they decide to do with it, because it's going to be a big number, and he's earned that. He's really earned that. And they project even further down, what is Skinner going to look like? What does he earn at that point, right? But you do have other guys locked in, like Hyman and Nuge, obviously are locked in at really good numbers, especially when you look at their recent seasons. So you're starting to figure it out, and then you take those big chunks and see what you have left and try to piece it around the outside. Because what's to say what Skinner's going to do? Not Skinner the goalie, but Skinner the shooter. What does he look like? If he likes it here and he likes playing with Leon, what does that look like? And what does that number look like? Well, he's made a lot of money.
Yeah.
Does he want to win and have fun? And those are all decisions. I know that's a year away, but still, it's worth looking and projecting down the line.
100%. Well, you know what? A guy like Jeff Skinner, he's never made the playoffs. He's never played a playoff game. I think if that guy gets in the playoffs, he can look and say, man, look, I've already made $60 million. Yeah, I can make 20 extra million somewhere else.
Yeah.
Or I can sign here for, quote, a little bit less and be in the playoffs every year. Like, I think when you have the luxury, and it is a luxury, when you have the luxury of having that much money where you are financially secure, you've got generational wealth at that point, you can make a decision based on happiness, not based on, well, I need the money. Right? And what's best for my family. You could, because hey, happiness is probably the most important thing for your family. So yeah, I'm fascinated to see what Jeff Skinner does in Edmonton on the ice and what happens when he's in the playoffs for that first time. Because Strutty, you've talked about it a lot. It's like, yeah, the regular season's one thing. The playoffs are like, it's hard to explain how different it is till you get in it.
Well, let's pretend you're Jeff Skinner. Let's say the Oilers are playing the first round. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. Let's say the Kings again. And he skates out there and here's that. What we've, seen and heard for the last 3 years. The Oilers have lost the Stanley, eventual Stanley Cup winners. I mean, how can you not get fired up about that? Let's just take a look. Henrique, yep, will resign. Brown, yep, he'll resign. Janmark, yep, he'll resign. There's a lot of guys that chose to resign on what I'd call pretty, reasonable deals or team-friendly deals. So, again, we're pretty far ahead of ourselves, but these are the conversations that are having with Leon, Stan Bowman, his agent, saying this is what we're hoping happens and this is what we can see. And, Leon's a pretty confident guy. I think that if he is with Skinner and Arvidsson and they're able to stay relatively healthy, I would think that line would be pretty productive. And then you got the top line, and maybe unfair to call it the top line, but the other first line with McDavid and company, and I'm guessing they'll be productive again. And there's issues on the back end, but that's their job. It's their job being the GM to figure it out. But for Leon, I was impressed the way he spoke today. You rarely see him talk about anything, much less Edmonton, how much he loves being here. He didn't want to pull on another jersey. I loved when he asked, they said, do you feel pressure? He's like, no, I have a responsibility. And I love that term, because it changes it. For a sports psych person, they'd be like, well, it's not pressure. My responsibility is I've prepared, I'm ready, and I can deliver what I've delivered in the past. And he has. I can't see Leon not still being the same player because of an extra, $6 million is a lot of money. But, I expect him to be the same, but.
Jason Stradwick joins us on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube and Facebook. And, Straddy, it's a huge day for the organization. You look at, to me, you mentioned how it was great he didn't box McDavid in, and that's wise. But I give 0% chance of McDavid not resigning in Edmonton. That's how confident I am he resigns here.
Yeah, I think that's even high, buddy. I'd say that's high. And listen, if Leon leaves us dangling all year, that would have made me think that Connor's unsure. But I think of the two, if you had asked me a month ago, I'd thought Connor was locked in and Leon was the question mark. And I don't know them. I'm just guessing. But when Leon locks in like that, and he talks about how he can never see himself in another jersey, and he loves playing here, and you hear those words out of his mouth, you're like, God, buddy. Because think about that when he was asked at the end of the year, he's like, well, we'll talk about it and figure it out. It wasn't as clear as it was today. So I think Connor will be back as well. And just guessing, I don't know, 15 million, 16, I don't know what it'll be. And that's up to Connor really to decide, because let's be honest, he makes this team a lot of money.
Yeah, no question about that. Stride, I have to get your thoughts. It's very unfortunate. We've seen all of the reactions from hockey in the sporting world for the Gaudreau brothers, Matthew and Johnny, who got killed in just a senseless vehicular accident there on their bikes on Friday. And you look at an organization, you think of that Columbus organization and how they they're you can't replace, you just lost one of your superstar players, right? Not to mention really great guy that everybody really, really seemed to like. I'm kind of curious how that organization kind of goes through this season.
Yeah. Well, I mean, first off, I got a text late the night before suggesting that this had happened. And I couldn't sleep. I was checking Twitter to see if anyone had updated, and I just felt sick for everyone who gets with the family, the wives, siblings, just awful friends. And then you kind of think about that team, and that's a huge hole. This guy, yeah, he was one of the great players, obviously, but it seemed like he was just loved everywhere he went. You read all the Instagram stories, wherever people putting their played with them, they just absolutely love this guy. So that's a huge hole to fill, and I worry for that franchise. Obviously, this is outside of the family members and all the friends of Johnny, but for that franchise, it's going to real tough start to the season, knowing that he's gone, and what he meant to that franchise. He hadn't been there long, so I do worry about it. And I know that I was reading that Columbus has got a lot of grievance counselors and counselors to speak with the players, and I hope they take it up, because that's a lot to process. This isn't a guy who blew his knee out, in the summer training. This is someone who was gone and had a big part in that locker room. And yeah, that was an awful night. And just thinking that was going to happen. And I just feel so poorly for those poor family members and friends. It's just awful, awful, needless. That's the worst, needless.
Yeah. It's very avoidable for sure. The Elks, Struddy, is the Elk man coming out of retirement?
It's funny. I knew you were going to ask me this, and I was talking to my kids, and I said that. But you know what? I was watching that game, Griggs, and I was thinking of you. And this is why. We've talked for years about how the team was losing. It's been 4 or 5 years of losing, and the fans not being there. And as I was watching that game, you know what I had? I had fun. I was loving watching that game. Mm-hmm. And we haven't. When's the last time we said, "Man, that was a fun game to watch"? That the Elks played. It's been a long time. And that was a really, really enjoyable game, and they won. So that's what brings fans back. That's what gets people excited about it, about going. Because even my kids said, Dad, we should go to a game. I'm like, yeah, you're damn right. Because that, it was back and forth, and the punt return, and then they get it going, and they have just a perfect pass from McLeod, just a perfect pass to seal the deal. Then saying goodbye, waving goodbye in the end zone. I think by Jones, like, I loved it. That was fun. And that's why we watch the CFL. Why you watch sports? You want to be entertained. I was, and I think that'll get people into the stadium.
No, hey, wait a sec. Are you telling me you liked a touchdown celebration? Is that what
I liked when he was?
No, I'm totally fine with it.
He was waving good. He was waving bye, and I thought it was perfect, right? But it was a fun game, man. Let's just be honest. If they lost, it wouldn't have been as much fun. But I enjoyed watching it, and that's. When's the last time? Other than the last recent months, buddy?
Yes.
When's the last game you said, man, I really enjoyed watching that game? There hasn't been many.
I can tell you, my son's really gotten into football this year. We have, and I've sat in the crowd with him, and I love it. It's outside, it's nice, and he's become a huge fan. Like, he's like, Dad, we're going to the game on Saturday, right? And I'm like, yeah, we got tickets already. So, and you know what? The green and gold, they still have a long ways to go to get back a generation of fans, and they might never get them back. Like because if you see like lots of Oiler fans became fans at a young age, they watched the playoff game or they watched something or they watched it with their parents and then grew. And for a long time, you didn't have that with the green and gold. And so lots of guys and girls who are 25 to 35, 40, maybe they didn't experience that. And so it's hard, right? Because we're all creatures of habit. And so you're going to have to work even harder to try to get them. But the younger kids, they're a lot easier. They're more excitable. And you mentioned it, Strutty. It's fun. And you know what's fun? When you go to the game and you win. It's just more fun. Like the game could be 9-6, but if they win, it's like, well, that's way better than losing, right? And so, like the Elks, to me, as big of a game as that was, and it was awesome, they're only 1-4 on home field. This Saturday, Strutty, I'm saying it's a must-win game for the organization moving forward. If they have any hopes of making the playoffs, you got to beat Calgary, who's yet to win a game on the road this year. You have to beat them on Saturday.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And, there's a lot of good things that happen. Like, he put up almost 500 yards, in the air. That's pretty crazy. So, they're going to want to shut that down. So, Coach Jerry's going to have to maybe look at, maybe a little bit different attack on the running because there'll be a little bit more space there. But I'll say this: if they can win Saturday, now since you got back-to-back wins against Calgary, you've won 5 of the last 6. I think if that happens, that's a pretty good turnaround considering where they were. Just think early in the season, not unlike Bo Levi Mitchell and Hamilton. No, this guy can't play, or this is the wrong. And Trey went in there and went well, then he lost the job because he was injured. Now, McLeod Thompson's in there doing it. So there's a lot of good storylines, and that's what gets people like us talking about it, and then get people in the stands.
Yeah, Jason Strudwick joins us here on the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation at YouTube and Facebook. Struddy, the NFL season is upon us. How many fantasy leagues are you in?
4 of them.
What? Are you serious?
4. Yeah, I love it, buddy. I love it. And I won 2 of them and finished as a runner-up in the last. I was pretty competitive, obviously. What are you going to do?
Are you in like the WCHL of fantasy leagues? Like, who's in these leagues?
A win's a win, buddy. Winning's fun. You just said it.
That's true. That is very true, Strutty. Touche. So have you done all of your, did you auto draft any teams this year?
No, I have one tonight and then one tomorrow. No, I'm pretty satisfied.
But you're not auto drafting this year?
No, but I'm high on Caleb Williams. I don't know if anyone else feels that way, but that's my guy. Caleb Williams, high on him.
Oh, you're going on a rookie quarterback to lead your team.
That's right. Lock it. That's the Strudwick lock.
What about Malik Neighbors? How early are you taking him?
I have a policy of not drafting my own players from the Giants. I refuse to do it.
That's been pretty easy for the last few years because there's no one draft worthy. But in the future, might be tough. So you're telling me that if Neighbors was around, I don't even know, 6th round, you wouldn't take him?
Well, of course I would, but he's going pretty early. He's a talented guy, right? But I just worry about who's throwing the ball. I worry about the offensive line. I worry about a lot of things.
If he's going earlier in the 6th round, then you're in a Mickey Mouse league because he ain't that good.
No, maybe that's why I win. Doesn't matter.
How, honestly, how many wins do you think the Giants get this year?
I think we got to get at least 2 to get a nice high pick. No, I think we're going to struggle. I don't know, maybe 4 or 5, but death is 7 or 8, right?
Yeah.
Let's get down to
it's
2
true.
or 3. Let's just tank it. Tank it out.
Fair. Yeah, that is
One more
probably
year.
fair. How many wins do you think Connor's Chargers are going to get this year?
Oh God, at least they got a quarterback. That's inexcusable. But they got a new coach. So I don't know. I don't know, 7 maybe 6.
No.
Not many.
Well, they have a quarterback when the games don't matter.
Oh boy,
I need to know
That's
if they have
hurtful.
one when it matters.
And who's he passing to? Didn't they get rid of all their receivers?
Well, they went with some youth in the receiving core, which is probably not a bad idea. Actually, I don't mind that. Plan. So, well, McConkey,
Crazy,
that's the
man.
guy I want. McConkey. I took him late as a flyer, so let's go McConkey.
Good luck.
Yeah. Connor's just sitting here quietly. Cons, honestly, what do you think of your team?
Justin Herbert, since drafted, has the most game-winning drives and fourth quarter comebacks going into last year. So I don't want to hear the slander anymore.
But not including last year?
Well,
what kind of statistic is that?
Well, that's the
And he has less
statistic I
playoff
have.
wins than Danny Dimes.
Well, no. No.
The most cover bet up until last year. Well, what about last? Well, we're not talking about last.
Well, last year he
That's
missed
the
out.
most recent thing.
Well, I mean, from that time on, in a 4-year span, he had the most comeback wins in football. That's what I'm saying.
Oh boy.
Not last year.
Oh boy.
And the receivers are fine.
How many losses how many losses in the fourth quarter did they blow though that he was part of?
Well, I mean, if you look at his statistics when they give up 28 points or less, he's one of the greatest of all time. But not too many teams giving up 28 points week in, week out.
Like, wouldn't almost every quarterback have a good record when their team gave up less than 28 points?
Greg,
the point is
cherry-picking stats.
The point
He's
is that
cherry-picking stats.
not every team has 29 of those in 4 years. That's the point. The defense is trash. He's going to be okay. Well, like I was going to say,
who's he throwing to?
Lad McConkey, DJ Chark, Quentin Johnson, and Joshua Palmer for a full 18-game or 18-week schedule. Better than Keenan Allen and Mike Williams for 4 games that they play every year. So we're going with you guys that are going to try to stay healthy. They'll win.
Best talent.
They're going to win 9 games this year.
Ooh,
Best talent.
9 and 8. What about Struddy's Giants?
Struddy, what's the best ability?
Availability.
Right. There it is.
Or talent.
Struddy's Giants are going to win 5 games and miss out on another franchise quarterback.
We're going for 2.
Well, that's what, Struddy? That might even be too high of a bar to set. So
I agree.
We'll see. Struddy, we will talk to you next week. Have a good one.
Yeah. All right, boys. Looking forward to it. Talk to you later.
That's
Okay, buddy.
Jason Strudwick. Big fan of the Giants. Yeah, it's going to be a tough year, Giants. And that team said, but you know what? I think he's right. You there's no point winning 6 games. You still suck. You just don't suck bad enough to get the good pick. Although CJ Stroud shows you don't necessarily have to be that bad. You just got to make the right pick. Maybe that's the key, Con, man.
Giants are just they're not a team that finishes that bad that often. I just think they're gonna win 5 or 6 games and take themselves right out of that great pick.
Well, who do you think is going to be who are going to be the brutal teams this year?
Patriots, probably the Panthers. I'm sure some team will drop off pretty quickly when injuries occur. I actually really do think the Giants will pick top 5.
Yeah,
they are not that roster is not good.
No,
made some defensively made some okay moves. Brought in Burns over from Carolina, which is good. Throw him on the other side there with Kayvon Thibodeau if he can live up to that hype when he was taken 5th overall. But offensively, Danny Dimes, it's tough.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he'll shock the world, but I don't have a lot of faith in him as a quarterback.
Maybe Malik Neighbors and Jalen Hyatt really put on a show, but I did take Malik Neighbors in one of my drafts.
Where though?
Good question. It was later on, and you know what?
As a flyer later on, it makes perfect sense.
It might have been like an auto pick. I was doing the draft while I was at the watch party at OTR yesterday, and a few of my picks were made while I was on the mic, which is kind of unfortunate, but if it works out, we'll take it.
Were they better than you would have wanted to pick?
No, definitely not.
Oh, okay.
If I lose, that's why.
What you should do is announce who you would have taken instead. So then we can debate it. Who would you have taken in those spots?
I'll have to go back and look. I'll take a look at that.
And do it before the season begins. You can't say it afterwards.
My question for you quickly. Karius was pretty cocky. He was feeling really good about his team.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think of his draft?
His drafts, well, he had traded a lot of, he traded some of his, I still don't understand how a guy with that crappy of a team, he swindled some guys in the draft. I don't even know how they made those trades, but Like guy trading for Joe Mixon. I'm like, what? But anyway, and that was during the season last year. His team's all right, but I don't. For a guy who had a lot of picks, he didn't end up with a lot of top end guys, right? He's got good depth, I will say that. So if injuries occur, he should be fine. And my team's all right, but when you know in our league, because guys, there's 3 teams because they traded off some guys last year. They have an advantage when the season starts. There's no question, but there hasn't been a guy in our league who's won recently who didn't trade away his top 2 picks. So that was my claim to fame. So got a new trophy too this year. It's our 20th anniversary, and our commish came up with a new trophy. It's pretty sick. So I like that. We even have a logo now for our league. Pretty big deal. So it's a fun logo. But his team's good. My question is, though, does he start the season 0-1 and extend his losing streak to 20 games in fantasy football? Because he lost a game, then he lost 18 in a row last year, went 0-18. Can he avoid a 20-game losing streak in fantasy football, Connor Halley? That's the story of the week. I don't even know who he's playing at. Our schedule will come out tomorrow. I'll see who he's playing. Got to be great. I think him and I are in the same division. I'd love to take the chance and just give him a 20th loss in a row. Amazing. Come back with 5 questions on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
In 100 meters, turn right. Actually, no. Turn left. There's some awesome new breakfast wraps at McDonald's.
Really?
Yeah. There's the sausage, bacon, and egg, a crispy seasoned chicken one. A spicy and egg. Worth the detour.
They sound amazing.
Bet they taste amazing, too. Wish I had a mouth. Take your morning into a delicious new direction with McDonald's new breakfast wraps. Add a small premium roast coffee for $1 plus tax. At participating McDonald's restaurants. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
You got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need: Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
I take possession of my commercial space in 3 months. I need lighting. I need a fire alarm. I need data. I need a generator. I need panels.
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Projects team reporting. We design, build, and construct all the electrical systems for your projects. Need everything to work right? Get the Action Electrical project team on your site.
Facing an electrical menace? Call the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
Rule number 37. Elk Island mosquitoes don't believe in personal space. Keep bug spray ready at all times. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules. And if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instance, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days. Because we all know they don't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Ain't it beautiful? There's electricity in the air. Carrie Dahl here from Volvo of Edmonton, where the Volvo XC40 and C40 fully electric vehicle is now in stock, along with a great selection of Volvo T8 hybrid models. Experience the trusted Volvo quality and technology to power into tomorrow at Volvo Cars Edmonton, Canada's only 12-time Volvo Excellence Award winners. Experience the difference. Volvo of Edmonton.
Ritchie Brothers Auctioneers presents a massive 3-day unreserved heavy equipment auction at their Nisku site September 4th to 6th, 8 a.m. live on site and online. A large selection of core construction equipment, mainly Caterpillar, plus wheel loaders, excavators, trucks, trailers, and vehicles. Register online to bid. It's free. Priority bids, on-site viewing, and timed auction on now. Auction starts tomorrow. Demand for equipment is strong. Contact your local territory manager to consign. More at rbauction.com.
What else should
Gregor, Halley, Sports 1440, Orders Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. Got a lot of text flying in, 833-401-1440. We'll get to lots of those, but first let's get to 5 questions brought to you by The Brick, where the Brick's fabulous tent sale continues. Huge savings, home furniture, mattresses, bedroom decor, and sofas, and more for the next 10 days at The Brick and thebrick.com.
The Jason Gregor Show presents Struds On.
It's the memories.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
I was really feeling that one too. Question number 1, Gregor. We got the number now for Leon Draisaitl, $14 million per season. That begs the question when it comes to Connor McDavid and his inevitable extension. How high do you think the number is going to be?
That's a good question. Well, it's probably as high as McDavid wants it to be honest. No, truly. And I don't say that to be disrespectful. I think that's a very easy negotiation for the Oilers. If McDavid comes in and his agent's like, we want 17 and a half, oh, sure, you maybe counter with a little bit, but at the end of the day, whatever he wants. I'm going to say his number will be, no. I think he wants a win, so I don't know, I'll say 15.5.
I'm going to go a little lower and hope that he wants to win just a little bit more and say 14.5. Make him the highest paid player in the game for a little while longer before someone else surpasses it. But I'll say 14.5, leaves a little off the top.
Well, there's really none of the superstars, though, that are up anytime soon. You know what I mean? Like Matthews just starts his new contract now.
That's true.
McKinnon just signed. Draisaitl just signed. Pasternak has signed. Kucherov's got, I think, 3 years left. Well, so I guess he'd be one after McDavid. But at that point, I don't think he's going to do it. So, yeah, I think he could sign for whatever, knowing that it's probably going to be a while, right? Like when he signed for 12.5, it took until McKinnon signed to surpass him. And it's probably going to be the same thing. And it might be a long, long time. Like Connor Bedard would have to go ridiculous. And I'm not sure he will. So I could see McDavid get that number and then stick at it for quite a while.
Question number 2, as is social media with a lot of the negativity as well. Some fans thinking the $14 million.
Why focus on it then? Why focus on it? Don't stop getting sucked into it.
Because it's 5 questions. We got to go there. When you initially saw 14 mil, did you expect it to be lower, or was that where you thought we would be?
I said 13 to 14 the entire time. I said it could go as high as 14. I didn't think it would be that. I don't think it'd be a gross overpayment. I get why the logistics of signing more than Matthews makes sense. So, 14 mil. I always thought it was in the 13 to 13. I thought was best case scenario for Edmonton, and 14 is not worst case because there's no worst case when you're signing an elite player to a contract extension. I don't see it being worse. So, yeah, 14 is kind of right in the wheelhouse where I thought it'd be.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. I thought it was 13. That's where I thought it would come in at, but 14. What am I going to do? I'm not going to let it ruin my day or anything. It's just a little higher than I thought. Totally fine with it. Number 3, the Elks have now won 4 of 5 games, right back in that playoff race in the Western Conference. In the last 2 seasons, the Elks have totaled 7 wins. They got 6 games remaining, 4 wins so far. Will they match or surpass the win total from the previous 2 seasons?
Well, I think they actually had back-to-back 4 and 14 seasons, didn't they? So, I will say they will still surpass. What, they got 4 wins now. So they have to win 4 out of the next 6 to get 8 or 7. So yeah, I'll say that. I'm going to say they go 4 and 2 down the stretch.
Oh yeah, 4 and 14 and 3 and 11. Okay, so 11 wins total. Okay, yeah, I think they'll win a few more. I think they'll finish. I'm going to guess 8 wins. Maybe 4 and 2. A couple, stub their toe here and there down the road. But yeah, can't rule it out for sure. I think they're playing some of their best football here and looking really good, getting the swagger back as well. So I'll say yes, they will surpass the win total or tie the win total of the last 2 seasons at 8. Question number 4 for you as we roll towards the NFL season. I'll ask you a question each day. Today's question, who is your offensive and defensive rookies of the year?
Go ahead, big fella.
Offensive rookie of the year. I want to have some fun with this one, go outside of maybe what people would lean towards. So I'm going to say Vegas Raiders tight end Brock Bowers wins offensive rookie of the year. Just really goes crazy because I think he'll be whoever the quarterback is. If Devontae Adams taking the double teams, you're going to have The tight end working his magic underneath Brock Bowers is an absolute stud. I think he's going to torment the Chargers for years, but I'll say Brock Bowers as a bit of a long shot. And then the defensive side of things, Latu, defensive end, UCLA. Got the neck injury, I believe, in college, was told by some doctors never to play again. He went to UCLA, was cleared to play. I think if he stays healthy, he's going to have a good year with the Colts.
Okay. On the defensive side, I'll go with Dallas Turner. Although he's on a losing team, so that might make it difficult. But now that I say that, I'm like, God, they might be losing every game. So the other team's just going to rush. So then it's hard to put up big numbers. So let me change on the fly. I'm actually going to go with I'll stick with it. Now that because I'm trying to think who the other guy. I guess I could go with Mitchell for the Eagles, but nah. Offensively, Cons, I'm probably going to be super boring, but I kind of like him. And what he's done, I really like DJ Moore as a receiver, and I think he will be put in every position to succeed. So I will say Caleb Williams does it. If I had to pick a dark horse, I would go with Bo Nix out of Denver. I'm not sure there's that much hype around him, but I think quietly he might have a pretty good year.
Yeah, I would not doubt that. He's looking pretty impressive. The cast around him, I guess we'll have to wait and see. But as a rookie, I think he'll do some good things. Good pick for the Broncos. Final question for you. This weekend, I went golfing for the first time in over a year. It was just for our fantasy football draft. I think we do annual golf round, and it was a good time, actually. Something I'll say, when I get out there, I actually have a good time. So I want to ask you, is there anything that you kind of don't do enough, maybe dread going into it, but once you eventually go and do it, you're thinking, I should do this more often?
That's a good question. Well, yeah, hiking. But I don't ever dread going into it. I look forward to it. I just don't do it enough. So, yeah, I'm going to say hiking. I really quite like it. I just have to figure out how to do it more often. That's all. I don't dread it. I just don't do it enough.
Yeah, it's kind of a bit of a trek to go do it, right? There's not too many closest for a good hike.
But Rocky Mountains has some pretty good hikes. So you can find places, but then I just look and say, you know what? Like, figure it out. I can take the drive and and then once I do it, it'll be like, well, this is worthwhile. Because then the drive home, I'm just thinking about the hike and it was awesome. So, yeah, you're right, though. It's not like, like there's very few things I like better about Calgary, but the hiking factor to go to the mountains, 45-hour drive, that could be a benefit. No question. We can still find ways to go here. And a hike doesn't always have to be super high. You can just have some, good distance ones too. So we got a lot of places to go. So I think that is on my list of things I want to do more of next year is hiking. Now, when I say more, I get to 3, well, that'll be more. So I have a pretty low bar that I have to attain or to reach. So that's nice. We'll see. We will see. Hey guys, it's 4-2 get the Elks to the playoffs. Great question, Nick. Great question. I think it probably, I guess, depends who, because right now they're battling Saskatchewan and Calgary. I don't think, I know the point totals look and say, hey, you know what, they're not that far out of Winnipeg and BC, but let's be honest, they'd have to sweep Winnipeg to catch the Bombers, and I think that's going to be really hard. But they play Calgary twice more, and Calgary I don't think is that good. They play Winnipeg twice more. They have one more game against Saskatchewan. And who's their other game against? Is it
Argos?
Argos, yeah. So they go 4-2. I think 4-2 could get them in, Cons. I really do. But one of those wins has to be against Saskatchewan. They can't lose Saskatchewan. Saskatchewan already has a tie. So, yeah, that's all. Preface it. If it's 4-2 with a loss to Saskatchewan, then it's probably too hard to catch. Let's get to the con man and a sports 1440 update brought to you by Booster Juice. Cons, did you know that Booster Juice has a secret smoothie menu? Well, now you can discover the 5 delicious fan favorite smoothies through the Booster Rewards app. It's a secret. Find out now. Only at Booster Juice.
This is a sports 1440 update.
Big news of the day, the Oilers and star center Leon Draisaitl agreeing to an 8-year contract extension with an AAV of $14 million, the highest in NHL history. Draisaitl, of course, was selected 3rd overall back in 2014. He's got 850 points in 719 regular season games. The Boston Bruins captain Brad Marchand, speaking of the Middies today, said he underwent 3 surgeries over the offseason: torn elbow tendon, as well as a groin and abdominal injuries that required surgery late in the season. The 36-year-old saying he's hoping to be ready for the start of training camp later this month. From the NFL, Trent Williams' holdout is over. The Niners finalizing a new deal with their left tackle, ending the contract dispute, putting him in position to play on a Monday night against the New York Jets in the team's season opener. The team also placed receiver Ricky Pearsall on the non-football injured list 2 days after he was shot in the chest during a robbery attempt in San Francisco. Looks like he'll miss at least 4 games. In the majors, the Blue Jays set to take on the Phillies in about 5 minutes' time. You got 3 games going on right now: Twins, Rays, Marlins, Nationals, both scoreless. And after the first, Orioles up on the White Sox 3-0 in the WNBA tonight. Sunday on the Storm Mystics in Arlington. The Aces will host the Sky and the Dream up against the Mercury. Coming up in hour 4 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll hear from Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet, as well as the Oil Kings General Manager Kurt Hill, plus another edition of Cam Tate's 2-Minute Warning. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
The only thing as hot as the weather this summer is a night out at On the Rocks. Every weekend, enjoy live music and top DJs spinning your favorite tracks. The dance floor is the place to be. Celebrating a birthday or stagette? Let OTR take the work out of the planning for you. Book your party online at ontherocksedmonton.com. Join OTR every evening from 4 p.m. for a great atmosphere and good company. There's something for everyone to enjoy. Grab your Good Vibe Drive and head to On the Rocks, corner of Jasper Ave and 118th Street.
The locks are on a timer. They're going to get out.
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Service team reporting. With the remarkable reach of our bucket trucks and other equipment, we assess, service, and maintain your electrical lighting and automation systems.
Facing an electrical menace? Call the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
The Bricks famous tent sale continues with up to 60% off clearance items in the tent and store and up to $1,600 off exclusive tent sale specials. Plus, find incredible deals in every department, like up to 50% off mattresses, up to 25% off bedroom and dining furniture, and up to 30% off sofas. Come on by while the tents are still up and the prices are down. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
Sipping gin and juice, just trying to stay cool. And I'm sweating buckets bigger than a swimming pool. Cruise to Heritage Mall to enjoy some AC. Then my shorty hears the homies from Legacy. I say, listen, yo, where we gonna get the dough to pay Legacy from the radio? He says Legacy Heating's got a deal that's the bomb with no interest or payments all year long. No money, no problems. That's the life that I choose. Chillaxing with thousands of BTU. Doing whatever the heck that was. That's how you build a legacy. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Now, all sizes of premium roast coffee at McDonald's have a new low price starting at $1 plus tax for a small. It's great if you love great tasting coffee. $1 small premium roast coffee every single day. Must be McCafe. Plus tax at participating restaurants in Canada. Excludes delivery.
Ritchie Brothers Auctioneers presents a massive 3-day unreserved heavy equipment auction at their Nisku site September 4th to 6th, 8 a.m. live on site and online. A large selection of core construction equipment, mainly Caterpillar, plus wheel loaders, excavators, trucks, trailers, and vehicles. Register online to bid. It's free. Priority bids, on-site viewing, and timed auction on now. Auction starts tomorrow. Demand for equipment is strong. Contact your local territory manager to consign. More at rbauction.com.
I couldn't ignore it. Everyone kept saying, "You look so tired."
Are you getting enough sleep, dear?
Hon, you look like you need some rest.
But I'm not tired. I guess I just look that way.
But you don't have to. I'm Dr. Vance Elliott, and I provide skin-refreshing treatments designed to give you a fresh and natural appearance. Don't worry, we won't drastically change how you look, but we will help you look as energetic as you feel. Book your consultation today at drvanceelliott.com.
Need a new AC, furnace, duct cleaning, or water treatment system? Save up to $2,500 on a complete system and get a 12-year parts and labor warranty with Modern Air and Water. Your Air Ease Pro dealer at modernairwater.com.
Absolutely. You get up on your station?
5:07. Welcome back. Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. I'm guessing Oiler fans feel like you're pumped up today. Is Leon Draisaitl, a big 8-year extension with a AAV of $14 million. He's really the first ever superstar to commit long-term in Edmonton, as they were like during the peak of their careers. Obviously, McDavid did it earlier. Draisaitl did it earlier. I understand that. But at this age, sadly for Oilers fans, you're used to kind of seeing those star guys leave town. Leon Draisaitl remaining in town. And I think that this, at some point next summer, you'll be seeing the same thing about Connor McDavid. When? I don't know. Might be July 1st, might be August 1st, might be September 1st. I don't know. But it will happen next summer as well. Gregor Show is always presented by playalberta.ca, where, hey, you want to lock it in? Lock in an opportunity to win $60 million. Lotto Max tonight. Get your tickets at playalberta.ca. And, man, it's crazy. Training camp is right around the corner. The rookie camp, they'll be off to Penticton here very shortly. Oilers main camp will get going on the, I think it's Wednesday the 18th. And then, that's probably Medical's 19th. They're on the ice Thursday, Friday, Saturday. They got a preseason game already on the 22nd against the Jets, and then a doubleheader of preseason action against the Flames on Monday the 23rd. So things are happening quickly, very quickly. Let's get to the spec report now, brought to you by GS Construction. They specialize in underground infrastructure. They make your life more enjoyable with running water, indoor plumbing, and more. They're the grinders of construction. GSConstruction.com, as Mark Spector joins us. Spec, how was your long weekend?
A long weekend was great. Historical point here, though, I would say, Jason. I remember as a kid when Wayne Gretzky, I believe, who was 18 or 19, signed was it not a 21-year personal services contract with Peter Pocklington.
Yeah, but it's not a real contract. You know what I mean?
But it was a contract, and he was a superstar, and it was 21 years. So I'm not sure that wasn't the first superstar to ever sign long-term. I'm just throwing that out there. What do you think?
Well, he wasn't committed. Well, first of all, when he was signed, he wasn't an Art Ross winner and a Stanley. It was, when Gretzky was signed as the potential. This is a guy in his prime who had the opportunity to leave when his contract ended and opted not to.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair for sure. I mean, there's no doubt Draisaitl's accomplished more today than Gretzky had at 19, but I guess I'd say to you, we all knew Gretzky was going to be a massive superstar when he was 19. That's why he signed a 21-year deal, right? Which, when you sign a deal with Peter Pocklington, tends to end up in the trash bin anyhow somewhere along the way. But anyhow, good news. I would say to you that I know you and I were on the same page on this thing. I never saw a shred of evidence that taught me or directed me to think that Draisaitl would sign anywhere but Edmonton.
Mm-hmm.
Happy to see that that's in fact the case. I've been around a long time in this town. I've seen a lot of good players leave. So to see a really good one stay, it's probably good for your heart a little bit when you make your living in this town, isn't it?
Well, you know what? It's really good for the fans and a city that's just not used to this. And I get that Connor McDavid's here, and, it originally turns to Connor McDavid, but I'm telling you, Connor McDavid would be the first one to tell you that, it's much going to be easier for him to win a cup with Leon Draisaitl than it is without Leon Draisaitl, and vice versa. And so, obviously, I understand that the salary cap ramifications down the road, but who knows where the salary cap will be, Spec? The NHL keeps telling us how great everything looks. Heck, maybe the cap goes up $8 million next year, right? So, and the Oilers, Draisaitl's extension basically comes from the James Neal buyout, which is off the books next year, and Connor Brown's bonus, which is off the books next year. So there's $5 million. It's basically right there. Where they're going to have to find money is for Bouchard's extension, right? And that happens to every team every year. There's some guys that you got to figure out what's going to happen. And then when McDavid's contract, his new one, kicks in, and I say that because I'm very confident he'll sign, is you'll have Kane, Arvidsson, Ekholm, Skinner, all those guys are up at the same time. That, to me, is going to be the real interesting offseason, is what happens in the summer of 26. So we'll see what happens there. We'll have to get Spec back. Looks like he might have disconnected here. So we'll see what happened to him. So phone might have cut out. That's a fine for old Spec. We'll see where it goes from here. But I think this is a day that should be very exciting. You know what? Based on the text line, 95% of fans are super pumped. They get it. They name a team who lost a superstar and were able to replace him right away. I guess you could argue Pittsburgh, because Marilyn Mew at the tail end of his career, right? They won the lottery and they got Sidney Crosby. And that was like the transition. Any other one? Can you think about it? It's hard. It's hard to find true elite superstar players. And that's what Leon Draisaitl is. He's a superstar player. Second highest scoring player in the NHL the last 9 years. 9. It's not 2 years, not 1 year, 9. He's a pretty impactful player. Spec is back with us. And, Spec, you mentioned how, Draisaitl talked openly about all the things he liked about the city and why he signed here. And, obviously there was, I think it might have been Stephen Wino who asked him just about, the pain of last season. And it's still there. Wait, and it'll never leave because you get that close, right? Like we saw the Zach Hyman. And I'm curious how much that's a motivator for them.
Well, are you kidding? I thought when he said that, Jason, he said, you can't get any closer than we got. And that's true. And that means you probably can't have your heart broken any more than they had their hearts broken, right? You lose the Stanley Cup final, you get swept. Okay, it sucks to lose, but hey, we weren't good enough. You lose it in the third period of Game 7, and it just flat out hurts. And I don't know, I can't think of anybody else who's been through it. Yeah, I guess I can. Other teams have lost in Game 7, but it's really painful. Does that drive you? You bet it drives you. And you know what else it does? I think it, for instance, I don't think we're seeing any captain skates this year, Jay.
No.
I think that after learning what they learned, and I get it, the summer was short anyhow, so you're not going to blow your brains out in captain skates. But I also feel like they're saying, you know what, we've learned that it matters what kind of shape you're at in May and June, not so much in September, right? Training camp's enough. Last year they came in, they had all those captain skates. McLeod got hurt, Ekholm got hurt. I think this year is good. All the things you learn going to Game 7, it will shape their season this year, unquestionably.
Yeah. Moving to football, the green and gold, another victory. Only the second time, I think, since 2012, they win on Labor Day in Calgary. So that, and you put up monumental, huge yardage offensively. Big game, exciting game. The second half was exciting football. Lots of big plays. And I look at the Elks, Spec, and now you have a chance to come home and really get back in the playoff race. Legit. To me, you lose that game, you're not in the race. I think you're done. But you win that game, not only are you in the race, you win a big game at home in front of your crowd, which is going to be the biggest crowd of the year. And then you have a chance to build on it more than on the field, but also off the field.
Well, and I see no reason. They didn't just fluke that game off yesterday, for one. I thought they were better all over the field. Their quarterback was better, and some would argue that the guy that they like even more was on the bench. Their receiving core was deeper and better, right? Bagleton was the only guy that did any damage for Calgary. They spread the ball around really well. The running game, oh my goodness, Calgary, I think, had 18 yards rushing. Edmonton had over 100, So Edmonton won the line of scrimmage, in my opinion, on both sides of the ball. They didn't just win the game; they won all the areas of the game. I listen. I carved up this team as much as any guy when they were 0-7, and they've put themselves in this position now where they have to win. What have they won? 4 out of 5. Now they got to win 5 out of 6 to get back into this thing. But I'm here to tell you, I fully expect them to win on Saturday. For what I saw yesterday, there was no question, Jay, who the better team was out there.
Oh no, not at all. A lot of the BC receivers didn't make many plays because the Elks were intercepting it. So that might have had something to do with it. But, and hey,
Yes.
according to Dickinson, hey, Meyer wasn't good enough. Clearly, he's got to be better. So I would expect him to be better. And I've talked to a lot of guys. Sweeping any back-to-back in football is challenging for sure. So
really hard.
And
really hard.
The Elks can't take it for granted whatsoever. But they got to be ready at home because they have been a terrible home team for years. Spec. Like, what did they go, 19 without a win? They finally won. Like, they don't win at home. And as much as it's fun to watch a game on TV, it does not emotionally connect fans as much as it does when they win and there's fans in the building. That's just a fact.
Oh, then it's. I mean, let's say this. I'll take the positive view. A lot of stuff's changing. Your view of history of the Elks is absolutely accurate. They've been the worst home team, well, literally in the history of the CFL. They set the record for losses. But a lot of things are changing. I said to Carius this morning, and I will repeat myself, I challenge all those people out there who said, I'm not going to an Elks game as long as, I don't like this. I don't like the way they're run. I don't like Chris Jones. I don't like the way they're playing. I don't like the name. I challenge those people. You got a football team now here. This is a good team. They're acting like a good team. They're well coached. Right? They're playing well. Get off your morals. If you said you were going to support this team when they were good, guess what? They're good. Go support them on Saturday night.
I think, well, they've also brought back the free ticket for kids for school, and that will happen on Saturday. So I think that's going to play a big factor, right? The weather's supposed to be 28 degrees on Saturday night. Are you kidding me? So, that'll be massive. So lots of arrows are pointing in the right direction. They've won 4 or 5. Yep. They got an exciting team right now. They score points. Their defense can create some interceptions and some turnovers. So yeah, there's lots of reasons to do it. Now you got to continue to do it. I don't really ever blame I don't blame the fans a lot for not supporting a team when the team did everything in their power to spit in the face of the fans. So I understand why some don't want to come back, but I think those who come just because they enjoy football should be entertained at the bare minimum on Saturday.
Yeah, listen, I'm just saying, I've heard a lot of people say, I'll come back when. I think when has arrived. Now, I'll ask you this. Trey Ford's healthy now. How do you get him into a ball game, or do you get him into a ball game here?
Yeah, I think you find a way to get him in, right? I think they'll probably start Bethel Thompson because of the week he had, but I think Trey Ford will get some snaps in this game. That's kind of like, Trey Ford didn't lose his position because he was playing poorly. Trey Ford was playing great. He was the one who got them back. They never won any games, and winning is infectious. So, yeah, I think Trey Ford, when he's healthy, will get back in. I think him dressing was the first step, but I don't know how fully he was, and I'm still not sold. I got to see, how many reps does he take in practice, because he was even limited. So until he's not limited in practice spec, I don't think he's a real option. He can dress, but he's only there in case of emergency.
Well, my knock on Bethel Thompson this season in many of the games has been, he puts up numbers, but he puts them up between the 25-yard lines. And I will say to you, I thought in Calgary, I liked his halftime comment. He did the walk-off interview, I think it was with Farhan after the first half, and he was the one who said, yeah, we're moving the ball pretty good, but we've got to get it in the end zone here.
Yeah.
And they came out and give the guy credit. Not only he passed for almost 500 yards, which is, I'm like, who can knock that? But he also put the ball in the end zone, right? He put the ball in the end zone. He put up over 30 points. So in that 0-7 run, he had a couple of, I'm going to say 3 or 4 pretty good games, his numbers wise, but he didn't get the ball in the end zone. So if Bethel Thompson's finishing his drives, this is good for the Elks. And it's, what it also does is it makes it harder for Ford to get back in. They got a healthy competition there, Jay. And I'll tell you what, having 2 good quarterbacks fighting for the ball, that's not a bad thing.
Oh, 100%. That's a very good problem to have. That's what you want, right? Look at the receiving core now, right? Like Tevin Jones, how do you not throw him the ball more? All the guy does is catch the ball and make plays. That's all he does. So, find a way to get him more involved. Like, he's only had 22 balls thrown is when he's caught 20 of them. Like, that's pretty damn good. So,
well, then the yards after the catch, right? That's what he's pulling off here. So, hey, they got all of a sudden here, they got a pretty deep receiving core. And, Bethel Thompson, give him credit. Like, he He came in, was it the second quarter of the Saskatchewan game that he came in? When he came in when Ford got hurt, and he won that game, and then he won another game, and he took him into Montreal, and by all rights, they could have, should have won that game. And then he walked down and won the, the second Labor Day win since 2011 or something like that.
No.
So, again, I've been a guy that's pointed out his deficiencies this year, and I'm ready to come on here and say he's playing pretty well. And I like to see Trey Ford play football too, but this guy's making it hard for the coach to put him in. I'll give him that.
Yeah. Spec, and enjoy the evening. We will chat tomorrow. Spec, by the way, I'll give you a little teaser. You might want to listen to our Who Is It Wednesday guest at 3:00 tomorrow.
3:00 tomorrow.
Yes. I think you'll be very intrigued, especially in the final segment, but all three are going to be very good. But I think most people will be curious about the last.
I like that. That's a good shtick you got there. I like that one. I listen to it quite frequently and try to figure out who it is, and then it's usually a pretty good interview. So 3:00, I'm setting my alarm, buddy.
All right, buddy. All right, we'll chat with you tomorrow.
All right.
There you go. That's Mark Spector, our Who Is It Wednesday guest. Yes. Well, I'll give you a hint. Hockey fans are going to like this interview for lots of for past, for the present, and even the future. All different angles in hockey tomorrow. So you will like our guest. Being around a long time in the hockey world. Still heavily involved in the hockey world. There's a little hint for you. 21 and a half hours before our Who Is It Wednesday guest tomorrow. Looking forward to it. Should be fun. Just say this. There'll be no shortage of opinion from our guest tomorrow. Nice. When we come back, we got a special 2-minute warning with Cam Tate, and the text line is absolutely busting out. So we're going to get to them. You know, all the fans are excited. We're going to read those. I love it. It's coming up next on the Jason Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. You can always email us in our inbox, ewel.ca, for all your electrical gear. Text us at 833-401-1440.
We've finished construction of our gamma radiation containment facility. Is it up to code? Is it going to be safe?
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Testing team reporting. We test your commercial operations using tools like infrared to ensure safe operation. Trust us to prevent potential calamity before it strikes.
Facing an electrical menace? Call the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
Actions speak louder than words. Japa Machinery Group puts your construction plan into action with XCMG construction machinery you need. Available for rental or sale. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
Now, all sizes of premium roast coffee at McDonald's have a new low price starting at $1 plus tax for a small. It's great if you love great tasting coffee. $1 small premium roast coffee every single day. Must be McCafe. Plus tax at participating restaurants in Canada. Excludes delivery.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
Rule number 62. Never miss a free pancake breakfast. It's unheard of and frankly a little upsetting. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules. And if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instants, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days. Because we all know they don't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Ain't it beautiful? What does excellence mean to you, and how does it impact your decisions? Friends, it's Carrie Dahl, and I know that at Volvo Cars Edmonton, excellence isn't an option, it's their everything. From customer satisfaction in sales, service, inventory, and retention, they excel in all. Congratulations, Volvo Cars Edmonton, Canada's only 12-time Volvo Excellence Award winners.
Volvo of Edmonton.
527. Welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you on Sports 1440, Orders Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. And we'll get to the Oil Kings report brought to you by Volvo Cars Edmonton.com. And hey, the great deals continue on. The XC60 plug-in hybrid recharge. I'm driving one right now, I have to say. Buddy, when it's you plug that bad boy in, I've gassed up twice in a month. Nuts. It's pretty good. The only thing is, be careful because it's got a little pep off the start. Can get you in trouble. A young Jason Gregor would have a lot more tickets right now. That's all I'm saying. So be careful. It's got a lot of pop, but you get a great deal. VolvoCarsEdmonton.com. And man, we're getting into September and everything is happening. There's so much going on, including the return of the Western Hockey League training camp right around the corner. They got the regular season gets going at the end of the month. Oh my goodness! And the GM, Connor Hill, joins us once again. Mr. Hill, how you doing?
Doing good, Jason. How are you?
Hey, I'm excellent. The off season in every sport as a GM, like, do you ever get any actual downtime? Like, do you force yourself to take a week or 2 weeks off, or is it impossible as a GM?
Yeah, I think the phone's usually always on, but I would say probably in the Western League circles after the NHL draft, after the import draft, really, it's that month of July is a pretty quiet month. There's always emails and the odd phone call coming in, but that's kind of the downtime. And once August 1st hits, it's full steam ahead again.
So, because obviously, you know what, you're planning out travel, and there's so many other things to look at for your team. When you go through even the preseason schedule, because you guys kind of have unique, you play on the road, or you don't play really at Rogers Place. You play in other smaller little venues and stuff. Is that kind of easy to do? Do you go in depth on finding out where you play, or is there someone else in the organization who helps kind of organize where those preseason games are going to be at?
Yeah, like Kevin Radomski and me work in tandem on doing that. Like, and that's, those preseason games are planned almost, probably 6 to 9 months out, where we start talking to local towns. And it seems like, now that we've gone into a few communities over the last couple of years and helped them raise significant money for minor hockey, there's a lot more towns wanting us to come there to host preseason games. And, for us, I think it's great that we showcase the Western Hockey League in some of these small towns, and even more to that, it's just the impact you can make on hockey, on minor hockey in the communities there is great. And that's really why we look to do that every year.
You guys had some good young players last year. You're going to add a few more for Oil King fans. Who are the young players that you're excited to see on a night-to-night basis this season for the Oil Kings?
Yeah, it's kind of an exciting time right now. We have lots of young guys coming into the organization, and guys that we've picked maybe a little bit higher in the draft and that too. So it's from the standpoint of the quality of the young guy coming in, and they've all had great summers, and we're really excited about it. And obviously from a fan perspective, fans are going to be excited to see what Blake Fiddler can do in his second year and going into his NHL draft year. And obviously it's going to be Joe Ginla's first year in the league too. So those are going to be a couple pretty big household names of first-year players on our team. Well, Joe especially being a first-year player in our league, and just obviously the history of his family and the hockey circles. Well, you look at Blake Fiddler, and I'm not coming out party's probably way too much of an over-exaggeration. He was a good player, but man, at the Helinka, he had a hell of a tournament. Yeah, he certainly found another step, and I think his decision, to play for Team USA at that event, and obviously get to be the captain and be their marquee guy, play significant minutes. And we saw at the event, he played extremely well. So I think from a standpoint of going into your NHL draft year and being on a pretty big stage, he had a great start of putting himself pretty high on the radar for this year's draft. You look at your defense last year, and due to injury, I think you guys had played some ridiculous, like 13 or 14 defensemen in the first 20 games. Like, it was off the charts, the amount of injuries that you had. With that, I guess the good thing, some guys got a few more games than maybe you would have thought early on and stuff. But, at every level, if you got better defense, you got a better chance of winning. Where's your confidence level on your blue line right now? Well, I think the last couple of years, one thing we've certainly been able to do is play guys at a young age, significant minutes. And, at times we've tried to protect them, but at other times we were so injured, it didn't matter. They were the guys in the lineup in the heat of the fire. And, now we're getting into that point where some of these guys are only 18 years old and they've been in the league for 3 years, or like Fiddler, for an example, is playing half the season last year of 20 plus minutes. So I think from the standpoint of the amount that our young players have played, they've played a lot of hockey. They're still only 18 and 17, the bulk of our defensive core, but I think that they're pretty experienced for their age. And obviously we made a deal this summer to bring in Josh Morey, who played in Portland before. And anytime you can bring a stabilizing 20-year-old D-man in to help those young guys out a little bit, we're really hoping that Josh can be that, that older veteran presence back there that can calm things down when we need him to.
Adam Jecko, of course, import draft for you guys. I think he was a 3rd overall when you took him in the import draft. Hulking player, 6'5". We saw a lot of stuff, but big guys, Curtis, sometimes it just takes a little bit more for them really to see. Are you expecting a year where this guy can really dominate?
I think so. For him, it was a hard year last year. Like, guys were, especially scouts he's such a big presence out there, like you said. And, no matter what he's doing, you notice him. And, when he had some off nights or maybe wasn't as consistent as scouts wanted to be, I think it magnifies when you're 6'5" and, 200 pounds. Like, guys really want you to be uber consistent and really want to see that compete level. But like you said, I find the big guys do take a little bit longer. And, to Adam's credit, I thought for a player that came over from Europe, that's first time playing on the small ice, completely new environment that he's in, I thought he had a really exceptional season. Over 20 goals, close to a point a game. And, we're expecting him to take another big step this year, but we were certainly really happy with the year he had, with the circumstances he had to go through last year.
Kurt Hill joins us, the general manager of the Edmonton Oil Kings. And Kurt, you look around the league and you know what, I wouldn't, predictable is the wrong word, but you can kind of look at the rosters and you think, okay, who are the good teams? You're a team. Is it fair to say you feel pretty comfortable that you should be like anything? If you're not a playoff team this year, would be viewed as a disappointment?
Yeah, certainly. I think that we have the group now and the experience now to take that step to get back into the playoffs. And yeah, it would be a very big disappointment for us if we weren't able to get in this year. I think, with the additions we've been able to make up front and the skill that group has, our D-core, like I said, they're young, but they're extremely experienced. We're really comfortable in those positions. And we have 4 goalies at camp that are battling it out for 2 positions, and they've looked good so far. And, that's a luxury we have this year is goaltending that are pushing each other here early on, but are in a really big competition to see who's going to be our starter and backup this year.
I wanted to get to that because obviously goaltending is super important. And, you balance out experience is one factor, but then you're just like, well, we want guys who are good. And regardless of age, how do you foresee this battle playing out here in the preseason and the rest of camp?
Yeah, well, it's an interesting one for sure. Like Colby Hay has been here for, 3 seasons going into his 4th year, and he's a potential 20-year-old goalie that played, really well for us at points last year. He was over 500. He had some really good games, consistency at times, wasn't quite there, but I thought overall he had a really strong season. This summer we got word that a goaltender we drafted in the past, Alec Worthington, who's now 19, wanted to come back and give the league a try again. So He played last year in Briarcrest College in the ACAC against older guys. So going to have to evaluate how he transitions back in the league as an older goalie. And then our backup from last year, Hudson Perry's backs, looked good in camp, and a 2nd round pick of ours, Parker Snell, who's a local here in town, could potentially be a 16-year-old goalie this year, and he's looked really good. So it's it's one of those things where I don't think there's a handicap on it. I think really from a staff perspective, it's been some tough years in net, and we just really need to go with the guy that's ready to play and that's going to give us the most consistency on a night-to-night basis.
Coming back from Briarcrest, like I'm trying to think, when was the last time that happened? Like you just don't see a guy go to the ACAC and then come back. And hey, if you're playing at Briarcrest, I used to cover that league, and I don't think it's changed a lot. Kirk, you're a goalie. You're getting a lot of shots. You're getting a lot of opportunities when you're playing in Briarcrest.
Well, you know what? It was, I think the coach that they had there the last couple of years, he's an ex-Western League player, Sam Clausen. He's coaching up in Fort McMurray now in the AJ. He did an exceptional job. and they had one of the stronger teams in the league last year. I think they finished second in the regular season. So, I guess he was a pretty good recruiter, but at the same time, I know Alex Worthington in net he was seeing 30 plus a night. So, when we look at some of that, we were pretty comfortable that he could come back. And he had some NHL teams looking at him last year with it being a bit of a weak year, and with the goaltending in the draft, he went to Jets development camp. So I think he has lots of upside now. It's just going to be whether he can, get himself acclimatized in time and, give us that consistency we need.
Good. Always good to catch up with you, man. We'll see you around the rink very soon. Thanks so much for your time. Have an awesome day.
Yeah, thanks, Jason. Thanks for having me. Have a great week.
You betcha. There you go. That's Kurt Hill, the GM of the Edmonton Oil Kings. We got a lot of texts. People are excited. Like right now, you know what? Sports fans in Edmonton, the Stingers had a hell of a year. The Riverhawks had a great season. The Elks look like they finally, brought them out of the sludge that they've been in. The Edmonton Oil Kings the last 2 years have had the highest attendance in the league, despite not being a playoff team. And they're going to be a playoff team this year. And the owners just signed Draisaitl. You're a sports fan in Edmonton, you're pretty happy. Not to mention, right, you got junior football going, the Wildcats and the Huskies right now. You also have U of A Bears football getting up and going right away. We have all the other sports at U of A and Nate and Grant McEwen and Concordia. Everybody's fired up. WHL's getting going. Lower levels of AAA. It's awesome. It's such a fun time. Sports fans, this is what you live for. There is so much going on. I love it. And just a reminder for all those whose kids are playing sports, remember why you play. The number one reason, are they having fun? Do they want to come back and play? Don't put too much pressure on your son or daughter, okay? They're not making the NHL at 9 or 11 or 13 or 15 or even 17. They're not doing it. Support them, enjoy it, encourage them, make sure they have fun. Same with coaches, right? Please, coaches, don't shorten your bench at U9 and U11, and you don't do it, okay? You're ruining kids for what? A chance to maybe win a game in November and October. Seriously. Take a step back and ask yourself why you're doing it. It's something that needs to be reminded because it still happens, unfortunately. Quick break. We'll come back and return to the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Cam Tate, and more.
Now, all sizes of premium roast coffee at McDonald's have a new low price starting at $1 plus tax for a small. It's great if you love great tasting coffee. $1 small premium roast coffee every single day. Must be McCafe. Plus tax at participating restaurants in Canada. Excludes delivery.
The Junior Prospects Hockey League is entering its third season of gameplay. The JPHL now offers academic and athletic opportunities in the 14U, 15, 17, and 18U age divisions. All JPHL games are broadcast live on Silent Ice TV with a showcase-style game schedule and high level of travel and accommodations for its team, staff, and players. To learn more about why the JPHL is the fastest-growing elite hockey academy stream in Western Canada, visit juniorprospectshockeyleague.com.
The Bricks famous tent sale continues with up to 60% off clearance items in the tent and store and up to $1,600 off exclusive tent sale specials. Plus, find incredible deals in every department, like up to 50% off mattresses, up to 25% off bedroom and dining furniture, and up to 30% off sofas. Come on by while the tents are still up and the prices are down. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
The only thing as hot as the weather this summer is a night out at On the Rocks. Every weekend, enjoy live music and top DJs spinning your favorite tracks. The dance floor is the place to be. Celebrating a birthday or stagette? Let OTR take the work out of the planning for you. Book your party online at ontherocksedmonton.com. Join OTR every evening from 4 p.m. for a great atmosphere and good company. There's something for everyone to enjoy. Grab your Good Vibe Drive and head to On the Rocks, corner of Jasper Ave and 118th Street.
7 gin and juice, just trying to stay cool. And I'm sweating buckets bigger than a swimming pool. Cruise to Heritage Mall to enjoy some AC. Then my shorty hears the homies from Legacy. I say, listen, yo, where we gonna get the dough to pay Legacy from the radio? He says Legacy Heating's got a deal that's the bomb with no interest or payments all year long. No money, no problems. That's the life that I choose. Chillaxing with thousands of BTU. Doing whatever the heck that was. That's how you build a legacy. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Are you afraid of losing your car or home due to debt? Don't let fear or shame hold you back from seeking help. Bankruptcy is not the only option. A consumer proposal can reduce your monthly payments, lower your overall debt, and allow you to keep your assets. My name is Parveen Middleton. I'm a licensed insolvency trustee at BDO here in Edmonton. I'm here to help you tackle your debt. Take the first step towards regaining control of your finances. Call 1-833-BDO-TALK or visit bdodebt.ca to learn more.
I'm Rick Showers from No Bull RV. Anything that's exposed to the elements or has moving parts needs regular maintenance. And when you consider an RV, well, it falls into both categories. Lots of moving parts and sitting out all the time, which is why we hire the best RV technicians in Alberta to come work here at our new, bigger store in Leduc.
Noble has giant indoor service space that can hold the biggest RVs in the world.
That's right, Bob. The vast majority of our indoor space at Noble is dedicated to service and repair. You spend the summer in the great outdoors, and we spend the winter doing scheduled maintenance, so you're ready to go next season.
Sounds like a year-round thing, Rick.
That's it exactly, Bob. Our techs are the most highly experienced men and women in the business. We're solving problems and creating solutions every day. Whatever your used RV needs, our service team has seen it before and knows exactly what to do.
And that's Noble.
NobleRV.ca.
Welcome back, Jason Gregor, Connor Halley. We got a lot of texts to get to. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Let's get to a lot of the texts coming in. Hey guys, have to say I haven't been this excited as an Oilers fan in a long time. Cap hit's irrelevant to me. I don't know what the salary cap's going to be in the forward, but I do know that Draisaitl is going to be on the team for 8 more years if they want him. That's fantastic. Less stress. 97's next. Book it. Yeah, I would agree with you that 97 will sign a contract extension. Now, Evan Bouchard, because he's allowed to sign one before, might. We'll see. But next summer, Connor McDavid contract extension, I think you can mark it down. Again, like we said on our show with Draisaitl, I said, don't stress about it because talking about it every day wasn't going to change it. It was going to happen. And it did happen in late August, but then the unfortunate injury to not injury, but death to Johnny Gaudreau in that accident allowed them not to announce it. They didn't want to announce it that day. Felt to be disrespectful, which makes a lot of sense. So this was a deal that all the arrows pointed to it getting done in August, and ultimately it did. And now Draisaitl celebrates. I think the Oilers franchise celebrates. I think the Oilers fans are pretty excited about it. Hey guys, when I was my son's age now, Gretzky was traded. Now we sign a superstar long term. Tell you I'm pumped. Well, I remember I know exactly where I was on the day Gretzky got traded, August 9th, 1988. Right? Like that was a massive story. Like you got to remember how big it was. Like there was no internet, right? I remember because my brother was traveling in Switzerland at the time. And, he was on a train somewhere and someone said, oh, hey, you're Canadian, where are you from? Oh, yeah, Gretzky got traded. And he was like, what? And he's like, as if. And so he had to go find a paper. And sure enough, it made news. Like it was a massive global story at that time. Huge. Wayne Gretzky getting traded. Well, sold, however you want to put it. But it was a big deal. Huge deal. $5.46. Hey guys, you think the Oilers have any interest in a right D for PTO? Well, no. Why? They've got 6 defensemen. So now you might not like them, but they're under contract. Evan Bouchard, no brainer. And they got Stetcher, right? You got Emberson, you got Brown. They all played in the league last year. Then they got Phil Kemp, Max Wayner. But after Kulak, Nurse, and Ekholm, they don't really have any left defensemen that I think they feel comfortable playing. So that's why I could see Travis Dermott, Mark Giordano as PTO guys. Left shots always made. Like, I know when they report, Tyson Barrie, Justin Schultz, I don't think Edmonton had any serious interest there. Didn't really make sense. And honestly, if I'm Tyson Barrie and I'm getting a PTO, I want to go somewhere where I think I got a chance to showcase my best skill set. Probably better chance in Calgary than you have here in Edmonton. That's just the truth, right? You can sign a PTO, but you want to try to make it an educated signing that where you're going, you got a decent chance maybe to sign. Of course, not every PTO gets signed. And there's the odd Chris Versteeg one that goes to one team and then signs a contract somewhere else. But I would think that's what's going to happen. Now, let's get to the special 2-minute warning. Cam Tate, brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, where the rates never change. All of a sudden, AC or furnace conks out tonight on the weekend. Call them, they'll fix it, but no overtime. Legacy Heating.ca. Cam Tate, of course, longtime journalist in town, has cerebral palsy. Is in a wheelchair. Has always wanted to be on radio, but due to his disability, was never an option until now. Through the wonders of technology, they take Cam's words and they put them to voice box. Here's Cam Tate.
Hey, Gregor, anything going on today, or do we need to call the guy we call on days when there's not much going on? You know the guy. Right when there's not much going on, you know his name, right? Phil. Hey, Gregor, member of Sports 1440, went on the air a year ago when we were all fired up about the captain's skate with Connor McDavid and the rest of the boys were in town well before training camp. Remember that? And remember when we thought it was pretty cool? Pretty good. Do you think the Draisaitl signing is perhaps bigger than the captain's skate? Hey, Gregors, do you think today's signing is a good thing and the contract signing lifts a cloud, perhaps over training camp and maybe the season? Hey, Gregor, so you're surprised at the price tag. $14 million. I'm going to hang on there, Gregor. That Draisaitl, to his credit, left some money on the table, and hang on there, Gregor, just a little more. If this operated word could start a new trend. And what I mean by trend is this: could future players signing contracts who feel like their team is on the cusp of doing something special, who also want to leave some money on the table? Hey, Gregor, what did you think of Oilers general manager Stan Bowman saying in the Zoom call, Draisaitl's contracts show the Oilers want to win? Hey, Gregor, isn't this fun? Hey, Gregor, did you hear TSN sideline reporter Farhan Laji, who was working the sidelines yesterday in Calgary, say he thinks the Edmonton Elks could be, hang on to your headset, Gregor, a Grey Cup contender? Elks, they're pretty dang good. So they were in their 35-10 win over the Calgary Stampeders. So hey there, Gregor, do you think the Elks would be in this position if Chris Jones was still driving the bus? Hey there, Gregor, the Paralympic Games and this one day, or you think the medal totals from the Paralympics and the Olympics should be added together as in all together to give an inclusive total of medals for a country? Hey, Greg, take a ride. Let's go for a ride on the cookie truck. No, 2-minute warning, Cam Tate, Jason Gregor Show, Sports 1440. Hey, Gregor.
I look at, a few things in there. No, I think Paralympics and Olympics are totally different. I wouldn't, I keep them separate. I think, both are amazing, but they're very different. And there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with it whatsoever. You see Canada's got a few golds now at the Paralympic Games, which is outstanding. So kudos to all those athletes. And I quite enjoy watching, man. There's some unbelievable, inspiring stories, man. Like you see that the disabilities that some of these people are born with, and just through sheer hard work and dedication and perseverance and overcome it, become very successful athletes is awesome. Like, it's awesome. As the stories, as much as the athletic endeavors themselves, are worth watching. So if you haven't checked it out, I highly recommend doing it. And if you missed any of the games, go on CBC Gym. They have all the stuff right there. It's easily accessible, and it's quite great to watch. I don't know, Cons, if you've tuned in or not, but it's quite good. So
yeah, definitely. I would definitely like to throw it on every once in a while, just to keep the Olympic spirit going a little bit longer. And yeah, some of the athletes out there, the things they're doing, very inspiring. Maybe dealt a certain set of situation where you could just complain and be down about it, but they go out there and perform, world-class athletes. So yeah, we certainly like to tune in every once in a while here, and it's been a lot of fun. And Canada started off, but they have 4 bronze about a week ago. Now we're up to 2 golds and a bunch of silvers and bronze as well. So they're doing a very fine job over there.
A few other news and notes from the sporting world. We have people wondering, hey, Greg's, I know it has nothing to do with the Oilers, but I'm just curious, what do you guys think is going to happen to the Red Wings those guys going to get signed. Yeah, so the Red Wings have to sign their 2 guys. And then you have Swayman in Boston. I think those are probably the 3 biggest names left. I still think it's good for Swayman to ask for $10 million. I don't know, good for him to ask it, but I don't know if he has the track record to show that he can get 10 mil. Sorokin's got 8. Right? So you always have to look at what makes your numbers that much better than another guy who's proven at the top. And that would be my I just sit down calmly and say, here's what Sorokin signed for. Now I know he might argue and say, well, you know what? He took too little. Maybe a valid point. Right? Because we haven't really seen a big improvement when it comes to goalie salaries. Defenseman's gone up, Rasmus Dahlin, right? Matthews went over McDavid, Draisaitl went over McKinnon went over McDavid, then Matthews, then Draisaitl. You're seeing it there. You're not really seeing it in goaltenders, right? Carey Price, the highest. Even Bobrovsky at 10 mil. Hellebuck's not beating it. But so they might counter with that. But if you're the Boston Bruins, I don't see Swayman getting 10 mil when there hasn't been a goalie come really close to that lately. The goalie contracts, oddly enough, are going down. Probably because games played by goaltenders are also going down. So see how that plays out. I think the Red Wings, they'll ultimately get it done. Will guys maybe miss some part of camp? I won't be surprised in Detroit. Wouldn't be surprised at all. But they're still, you got to remember, you're still, just over 2 weeks? It's a lot of time to get a deal done. On behalf of Connor Halley, Declan Kruger, I'm Jason Gregor. Have yourselves a lovely Tuesday. We got every spot. I'm looking forward to Who Is It Wednesday and more tomorrow. Have yourselves a great night. Here's a Command Sports 1440 update brought to you by supplying the City of Champs and Alberta with electrical gear since 1976. Go to ewel.ca and order 24/7.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Okay, so you mentioned the Oilers signing star center Leon Draisaitl to an 8-year contract extension with an AAV of $14 million, the highest in NHL history. 28-year-old center has 347 goals, 850 points in 719 regular season games since being selected 3rd overall back in 2014. In the NFL, Trent Williams holdout is over, Niners left tackle, and the team finalizing a new deal ending the contract dispute, putting him in position to play on Monday night when the Niners take on the Jets. Team also placed wide receiver and rookie Purcell on the non-football injury list 2 days after he was shot in the chest during a robbery attempt. He'll miss at least the first 4 games. In the majors, the Blue Jays with a hot start. They are on top of the Phillies 6-1 heading into the 3rd. You also got the Rays and Twins tied at 1 apiece. Nationals up on the Marlins 4-0, and the Orioles lead the White Sox 7-0 in the 4th. Later tonight, the Yankees take on the Rangers. Angels host the Dodgers, Mariners in Oakland, and the Giants up against the Diamondbacks. 4 games in the WNBA. Storm right now lead the Sun 34-31 at halftime. Later tonight, Wings and Mystics. Sky take on the Aces, and the Mercury host the Dream. That'll do it for us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Coming up next, we've got Fox Sports Radio. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
With Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR.